Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Welcome, Francis.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm glad we finally did this.
Oh, finally.
Well,
It's been a while.
your English has improved drastically.
Thank you. I think that's why I wanted to wait a little bit before come. I'm like, well, I'm not sure if I will handle that. You know, sometimes I listen to the podcast and I'm like, basically when you're talking about different podcasts, different topic, I'm kind of like lost sometimes. Like, okay, what it is mean? What does that mean? You know, but now I feel a little bit comfortable.
Yeah, you're much, well, it's easy to talk to you now. I remember when you first went to the UFC, I interviewed you and you didn't know what the fuck I was saying.
Nothing. Like, hey, growing up, I went to school, like elementary school and middle school, and we were learning English. I know some few words like water and stuff, but just my accent was just so different than when I came here. My first UFC event was in Orlando, and I couldn't even hear people like water. Like the accent was just so different. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I can't catch any word. You know, it was just crazy.
How long have you been in America now?
3 years and a half.
That's pretty impressive that you picked up
permanently because I travel a lot, but
right.
total is like 2 years and a half.
And you were in France for how long before that?
4 years.
4 years. When you were in Cameroon, what language do they speak in Cameroon?
We speak French in general, and just in our village that we speak our dialect.
Oh, okay. So you know the dialect from the village, and then French, and then English.
Well, I'm learning English.
Well, we're talking in English. So you can speak English a lot better than I can speak French.
Well, I still have some lacune in English, but getting there.
Yeah. So this has been a wild ride for you, huh?
Yeah. It's been a long road. You know, nobody could have imagined basically from looking back from my life that we're going to get here. You know, today I have to talk with great people around the world, you know, such as you, and being the biggest podcast ever, you know.
And be about to fight for the UFC heavyweight championship of the world, too.
For the second time.
For the second time, yeah.
The redemption.
The redemption. Well, what was the first time like for you? What was the feeling of the first fight like for you?
I had two different feelings from that fight. First, obviously, I was very upset and disappointed that I didn't win the fight. And, you know, as everyone who is fighting for the title, you want to get out there as a victorious. But to be honest, I always look in that fight, and since the fight day, just after the fight, I look at it and I'm like, this is good. Like, I learned just too much in that fight, because even though I was in the level of fighting for the world title, you know, but I still have some missing part in my game and in my experience. I remember I was questioning myself, like, okay, how did it look like to go into 3 rounds?
Right.
Basically, I'm going to a potential 5 rounds that I never been in 3 rounds. How did it look like? How is it to prepare for this kind of fight? And I had this fight like 6 weeks earlier. So I was having a lot of questions. Then after that fight that night, I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very big learning experience, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you were smashing everybody. You were knocking everybody out. So you had these very quick fights.
Yes, very quick rise, and didn't spend enough time in the octagon to like have those experience, even though I was almost like, he was almost 4 years, 3 years and a half since 4 years that I'd been doing the sport, but didn't spend enough time in the octagon to have that experience. I think in one night I have I cover more than what I've been spending in the octagon from the rest of my career.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. It's got to be a difficult thing to figure out how to pace yourself for a 5-round fight when you've only been knocking people out quickly before that.
Yeah. Also, some people get here while they've been while they've been having athlete lives for a long time, maybe wrestling,
Right.
maybe doing some different sport at school or at college, but I never get into that stuff. Growing up, I was just like finding my way to survive. Then I end up finding myself in somewhere that I never been there, so the experience was just crazy.
How old were you when you had your first training, your first martial arts training?
Oh, that was in summer, October 2013. That was my first.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just 8 years ago.
Yeah, and 2 years after that, I was fighting my first fight in the UFC, and I remember, basically, like at first when I went in the martial art, it was just for fun, to curiosity. I'm like, oh, it's fun. Oh, it's good. I like those kick shit, or but I didn't like seeing myself being a UFC fighter, and people was like, oh, if you put yourself into this, you can become a UFC fighter and a UFC champion. You can have a UFC belt wrapped around your waist. I'm like, whatever, didn't care about it until I have the UFC contract. Like 2 years after that, I'm like, okay, this might be the opportunity that I have been looking for. So it's time to capitalize and showcase my talent and shock the world.
How many fights did you have before you fought in the UFC?
6 fights.
6 fights. And did you have them all in France?
A few fights in France, just 4 in France. I had 4 fight in France, and in France the ground and pound is not allowed. When he goes, that was back then, because MMA was still illegal. So when he goes on the ground, he's just turned into grappling game.
Really?
Yeah. So I had 4 fights in France, 1 in Switzerland, and 1 in Bahrain.
Bahrain. So when did they find out about you? How did the UFC find out about you?
That was my coach Fernand. By the time, was working with a manager named Thiago, a Brazilian guy. So they kind of like push. Thiago has a connection with he was a manager, so Fernand was all the time sending him text message and videos that he would forward to the UFC. And they was still like, yes, but he hasn't fight nobody tough yet. Yeah, he hasn't get a real test yet, until I fought this guy in Bahrain named William Badulti, and knocked him out in the 2nd round. Then I get my UFC contract right after that.
What was it like, the first fight in the UFC? Was it different?
Whoa. That was a crazy experience. I didn't even know the rules back then. I remember I was in Orlando, and I'm like, man, this is the time. Like, I'm going to fight to be seen in the whole world. So this is the time to take my opportunity to showcase my talent, to prove that I can do something. Then I'm like, okay, so what is this? What it is about? MMA. How MMA works? What is the rules? How it goes? And I couldn't get it. Like, didn't know the rules. But
because you got used to no ground fighting, punching on the ground, because there's no ground and pound in France.
Yeah, even though I was just doing it for 2 years, and remember at first it was just for fun.
Right.
So didn't really was there to become a professional fighter. All I care about at the time was boxing. Then I found myself there in 2 years. Then I'm like, okay, what is the rules again? How it works? Okay, if he try to take me down, I cannot do this. Like, trying to figure all those out. It was very stressful. And I'm like, guess what? At the end of the day, it's just fighting. I don't know if this guy is doing some kung fu shit, but it's just fighting. We're gonna figure it out, you know. It's just men between men,
Yeah,
you know.
right.
Yeah, we're gonna figure it out. I mean, you know, I'm a tough guy, you know, so I can handle it.
Why did you transition to MMA and not go into boxing?
It's not like a transition, and I didn't have a choice. You know, I was doing MMA because when when I went in France, I didn't have a paper, so I was illegal, so I couldn't work, and I wanted so bad to do sport, and I was doing boxing and MMA. But the MMA was the one that was more open and giving me opportunity. Like having a UFC contract as an MMA fighter was a big deal, and didn't have much. You know, like boxing war is kind of like a very complicated business. You have to know somebody. They have to like line you up. It's very complicated. But MMA was just easy. You knock people out, then I'm like, who is that guy? We want that guy. It was pretty easy MMA wise.
Yeah,
and
boxing you have to be connected to the right
Yes.
promoter. And,
yeah, and that takes time.
Yeah.
And basically, regarding my situation back then, I had a lot of odds, you know, coming from nowhere, nobody knows me with my accent, and you know, in French, when you have accent, it's not a good thing.
It's not?
No.
What's it like over there?
It's frustrating because the way that they look at you when you speak with your accent, you know, you don't feel comfortable. You can't like let yourself express yourself. You just feel bad about yourself, you know, just seeing people react, some people reaction sometime, and you didn't have a resident card. You was like a migrant, so it was kind of together was a tough situation to deal with, basically in the boxing business, because they're gonna go see this promoter, talk about you, but who is that guy? Where did this come from? You know, it's hard to have credit from someone.
Now, you came from Cameroon to France to pursue fighting, or?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I didn't come from Cameroon to France. I went from, I just left Cameroon and didn't even know where I was going. I just know that I was looking for a field of opportunity, and that's how I left. Because regarding my situation back then, I couldn't afford to apply for a visa. You know, that was even unbelievable. I couldn't even imagine that. Because
Visas are very expensive.
not like expensive. They have to check your life, your bank account, your job. They have to know if you're capable of taking care of yourself out there, and if you can come back, because they don't want you guys there with your misery.
Right.
So they did a lot of background check in Africa to approve your visa to come in Europe or in America. And my situation wasn't the best. I mean, I didn't even have a bank account. What for? You know,
Right.
I have my few pound. I just keep it in my house. That's it. It wasn't even enough to open a bank account. So, but I still had to do something. You know, I felt that I had to do something.
How old were you then when you left?
I was 25.
So you just
Yes,
had gotten to this
25 to
point in your
26.
life where you knew you had to do something.
Yes, because it has been a long time. I've been thinking about that for a very long time, looking for what I can do. And over years, I'm like, okay, at this point, I can't just hoping something will happen. A miracle won't happen right now. You have to take action. You have to do something, even though it's risky. You have to do it. And that's when I decided to leave the country.
And you didn't have any martial arts training at all in Cameroon?
I started boxing like a few years ago. Like I left my village when I was 22. I was driving a motorcycle, doing taxi with motorcycle. You know, like you see in Africa, people
Yeah.
doing taxi. You carry like three three people behind you sit on the fuel tank and just like driving them to some point, and that's what I was doing. So that's not like a big job, so couldn't have much money. But since I was dreaming for boxing so bad, then I sold that to go to the city and find a boxing, because I've been dreaming for boxing for over about 10 years, but there wasn't a gym like 50 miles around. So I decided to sell my bike, my motorcycle, and go to the city. And by the time my family thought people around thought I was going crazy. Like, what the hell? Like, you have a job, you have a chance to have a job, to have a bike, you can feed yourself and maybe create your family, your own family, and you say you're going to do this boxing. What the hell is boxing? Did you ever see somebody coming from here to succeed in boxing? Then they would take some example such as people like Watabele, Joseph Besala, Jean-Marie Mebe, which is people that was a legend in this combat sport in Cameroon. But financially, they didn't succeed. Their life wasn't a great example to lay on, and that's why people are like, okay, those people had a chance to start sport when they were young, to be surrounded. You're like 22, and you're like, I'm going to do boxing. You're old. You're this.
You're old at 22.
Yes. I'm like, you're old. It's not possible. And basically, even if you're able to make it as them, what? You can't even feed your family with. I'm like, yeah, fact. Point taken. But, I love this shit. I'm just going to try it. And
so you just had a desire.
I just have a desire, I couldn't picture myself doing something else without it. I'm like, okay, he might don't work, but I don't want to live with the regret of not trying,
Mm-hmm.
I have to try. If I fail, it's okay. I have a right to try and to fail, to start over, as everybody has that right. So I can use my right, I have to try this. At least if it doesn't work, I won't blame myself someday that I should have done this, I should have do this, I should have tried. I was just like, okay, I give my best. It didn't work, and that's why I started boxing. And it was so crazy. Everybody around thought I lost my mind. Then I'm like, what the hell is that? Boxing? Like, you're gonna get hit, you're gonna get sick, you're gonna end up with a Parkinson, your head shaking like this, no money. Like, seriously, take your life seriously. That's not serious. And I'm like, yeah, maybe, but whatever. At the end of the day, what truly matters, at least I will do what I want for some time, what I love. And if it doesn't work, I still have some sort of satisfaction of doing it.
Are you aware that the amount of success that you've achieved has got to be very inspirational for other people that are in the same sort of situation that you were in? When they hear your story and they know that people around them are questioning their desires too. You took a lot of chances.
Yeah.
And look, here you are about to fight again for the heavyweight championship. I mean, it's a pretty amazing story.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, I'm aware of that. It didn't take me so long. I mean, after I get in Europe to realize that, because I started to fight, to compete in France, and I was they were seeing me on TV and calling me or texting me like, oh, we see somebody on the TV like you, but you have a dreadlocks. And the guy was exactly like you. I'm like, yeah, he might be me, So after a few fights, I'm like, damn, so that your boxing shit was serious. You really like that thing. I'm like, yes, guess what? Yeah, I am. And I'm like, man, that means it's never late. I've been thinking of doing this, and I always think it's too late, I can't make it. But I think right there, you just proved me wrong, because I was even closer to my dream than yours, and you still achieve yours. So that means it's never late. So let me try out. I'm like, yeah, you should.
Yeah.
What's wrong? I mean, if you fail, it's okay. You have a right. A lot of people fail over and over before succeed. He always needs one shot to succeed.
But most people don't have the confidence to take chances like that. Most people, they hear these people saying, oh, you're going to get Parkinson's, you're going to get sick, you're not going to make money, you're not going to be able to feed your family. And they listen to those people. Most people listen to the naysayers. They listen to these doubters. But you didn't. How come?
I think that's a good part of being a stubborn kid.
Yeah.
Growing up, I always had my own vision, my own point of view of things. And in Africa, when you have your point of view, which is a opposite to what your parents or your elders will like have, it look very bad. You're a very bad kid. Like, kids just have to obey whatever they are telling them. And I'm like, okay, I would like to do this. And all the time, they will tell me like, this is not for us. This is not possible. If for those people out there, I'm like, yeah, but does those people have more than us? I'm like, listen, you should just set up. Our life is like this. You're gonna be a farmer or a constructioner or this, like your parent. You can. You're just gonna follow the family footstep. And I'm like, yeah, but I can try something. He always take one shot to get there, and I'm like, we tell you it won't work. Just forget about it. And
You didn't
I'm
listen.
like, yeah, I know, but I can still try it. And I'm like, this kid never listened. And I always been like that. And growing up, me and my brother was the one that is going to obey, do exactly what the parents say. He was a good kid, a great kid, obey about everything. And I was just the opposite of him. Bad kid. He end up to be at the point that when I get somewhere, everybody would change look up of his stuff. Like, this kid is so ambitious. This kind of kid never end up where they'll end up like stealing, broken houses, because they don't. The reality is not enough for them. They just want something bigger, and when you have that kind of dream, you overdream. You For easy money, for easy life, you're gonna end up maybe drug dealer or housebreaking or those stuff. I'm like, listen, I just have my own point of view, which is different than yours. That doesn't mean I'm a bad guy. I knew I had a chance that I don't know how, but at any moment in my life, I knew exactly what I wanted, and that was clear in my mind. I knew exactly how to get myself ready to gather those stuff whenever it shows up.
And this is from the time you were a boy. You've always known exactly what you wanted. You've
Yeah.
always been stubborn like that.
Yeah, like that started. I was 6 years old when my parents divorced. I went to my aunt's, and she has like a ton of kids, and I was one among them. It wasn't a great experience, but what I do learn there, and this is the first thing that I learned in my life, like, people was coming over. I'm like, okay, who kid is this? So I'm like, yes, it's my. She was like, this is my sister kid. I don't know, your sister who married into this guy. She was like, yes. I'm like, oh, this guy is so violent. Oh, he's this, he's that. And that's how they was talking about my dad. So every time that they was talking about my dad, I was just ashamed of it. I was just 6 years old. Like if I come into the room and they are talking about my dad, I would just sneak, go back and go walk away. Like I don't want to be there.
Was your dad a fighter?
Not like a professional fighter, but he was violent, fighting, beating his wife up, my mom up, beating us up, and that's even how they get divorced. And from that moment, I didn't know. I mean, I was 6. I didn't know nothing about life. I didn't know what I want to become in life. But from that moment, I knew something. I don't want to become like my dad. Like, shit. I don't want this. So, and it ended up pretty well for me because I always have that in front of, in my mind. And that helped me my entire life. And that's why even today, thinking about my dad, he might be one of the irresponsible guy out there, irresponsible dad, but believe me, this guy impact my life than nobody else. And I think even in the better way, if he was a good dad, like have us together, educate us, sometimes you tell kid not to do something, like, why they always want me not to do this? You want to try that out to see how it feels to do it, But I get it on my own, and that was for real. My reputation was something to save. And growing in Cameroon, we drink a lot of beer, a lot, And since I had a dream of becoming a professional athlete, a boxer. I wanted to, even though I didn't have a chance to have a gym around, I never see a gym on life, but I want to get myself ready to get discipline. So if ever the opportunity get there, I will be able to gather it. And that's why my friend was drinking. I would never drink, never smoke, because I'm an athlete. I already behave myself as such. Even
Really?
though,
Even when you were young?
Yeah. And
you just had it in your head that you were going to be an athlete?
Yeah. And that was clear in my mind.
Did you have any exercise routine that you did back then? Nothing?
No. It was just my dream, and I believed so much. I believed so much in that dream. And it's crazy. I don't know if it was me, just too over-believe, but in some part of my mind, it was clear that it's going to happen. How? Don't ask me.
One of the things that I read about you was that you worked in a sand mine when you were young, that you dug sand all day.
Yeah, that was growing up. I was about 10 years old when I started that, because I was in the village, and where I grew up. After leaving my aunt's house, I went to my grandma, and we had to do something. We had to work to contribute at home, to buy oil, to buy food, and also for our scholarship, for books. So you have to work. And that's how we started, even though that work was meant for adults, but we didn't have any option, so we take what we had at the time.
Growing up doing something like that, that's got to, first of all, it had to be very difficult.
Very
digging
difficult.
sand.
Yeah.
It's also, your body must develop very strong from doing something like that. At 10 years old, as you're growing, as you're maturing, doing something that's that difficult, I mean, it must have made you really fucking strong.
Yeah, I hope so. But what I was...
Well, obviously it did. but it's just genetics too. There's a lot of good things that came your way that way, but also the difficulty of doing something when you're that young, such hard labor. I mean, it had to teach you discipline. There had to be like some positive. It's terrible that you had to do that at 10, but there had to be some positive aspects of it, some positive repercussions of it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I didn't like my life, and I always feel like I miss my childhood. Like it's something missing in it because it's been too much frustration in my life. You know, like I had to work by that age, and it wasn't enough. Like when school starts all the time, I'm gonna go to school, and most of the time still didn't have a pen to take note or a notebook to write on it. Sometimes no shoes or clothes, just have to wear like my uniform was tear all over, and I was frustrated to look around and see other kids looking good. You know, they went to they went in vacation to this family member, came back with all brand new stuff, and I was just there looking crappy with my. I had to like take my old book and look for an empty page to take a note, hoping that when I have a book, I'll copy the note from this year in the new book. But at first I always had to use the old book. And most of the time, teachers, they don't understand why you don't have a book. They don't understand why you don't have a pen. Sometimes they just think that you didn't tell your parents. You should tell your parents so they can buy it for you. They don't understand that you can not just afford it. You know, your parent can't. And they'll kick you out from the classroom. Maybe just to say, go tell your parents. And
you couldn't tell them we can't afford it. You didn't want to say it.
Then they knew.
They
but
knew.
What can they do?
Right.
Nothing, you know, because most of the time it's going to be even with the money that I worked that they're going to buy my pen or my book.
Yeah.
But you work sometime and they don't pay you right away. It's maybe after months, you know, so all the process. And sometimes they'll just kick you out from the school because of the scholarship fee. You haven't paid on time, so they kick you out. So I was subject of shame to other kids.
Yeah.
You know, because all the time when they kick you out in front of 50, 60 students, it's not a good thing, you know. And I couldn't have a friend because you know how things work. You have to be able to bring something on the table to enjoy, you know. But since you don't even have a pen or a book to take note, nobody expect you to bring a lunch or to buy something in the break time to share with them. So they don't want to share with you since they don't have any hope that you will have something to share with them. And I was always in retreat. I always stay in retreat, and that's how I technically grew up by myself. I end up like not even trying to have a friend. I'm like, okay, this is my situation. Maybe I feel okay, just retreat myself, not just to try all the time and get shame of it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I retreat and don't have to deal with these people with their opinion on me. And but that motivated me at some point. I'm like, damn, look, this kid, they are looking at me like I'm worth nothing. But technically, I worth more than them because I'm working, you know. Even though what I have is less than what they have, I deserve what I have. I work hard for it. And they don't deserve shit. They are just a kid.
Right.
They work and their parents provide for them. I'm not just lucky. I'm not just lucky to have the chance, but I'm still trying which mean I'm not bad at the end of the day, you know. So that pushed me to like, from there, I wanted something to prove them wrong. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do something that gonna prove this kid that I'm not beneath them.
So that gave you motivation.
Yes, that gave me motivation because that frustration, I was full of frustration, and I want to like drive this into something. Like, I have to prove them. I can't go to the party. I can have friends as anyone, and I have to work hard than anyone. You know, my school was like, my middle school was, I think, about 6 miles from home. So it took me almost 2 hours to get at school.
So you walked.
Yeah, so I walked around about 2 hours. And before meet the first student is at least after like 40 minutes walk, you know. So I have to wake up at 5, just get ready, start work. Sometime with not eating. Then I get to school, and the school close at maybe 4 to 5. But since I didn't eat in the morning, by noon, 1 or 2, I'm hungry, I'm starving. I can't take it anymore. I will leave school sometime, you know, just because I was hungry. Or if I had a chance to have breakfast or something, I won't eat before I leave home, because I know if I eat at 5 or 6, I will get hungry early. I will take it at school to eat maybe around 10, so I can resist until the end, you know. And that's how I did it my this entire time. So my process was all different from other kids, and nobody could have understand that. You know, he was just on me, and I was the only one knowing what I'm dealing with exactly to get there. So, and all those things kept frustrating me. I'm like, I'm gonna show them. Like,
How long did you have to work in these sand mines?
until I left school, I left school, I was 17. And then I keep doing it, and then
So you did it from 10 to 17? You did it all through school?
yeah,
And when
that
did
was
you,
the only thing to do.
right. When did you do it? Like, if you went to school during the day, when did you work in the sand mines?
Over the weekend, over the holidays, because I never had a chance to go to holiday, even for the summer holiday, which is like 3 months. That would be because we have a tropical climate. So at that moment, we have 2 seasons, wet season and dry season. And that's a wet season, so it's almost rain all the time. Kids go to vacation and all those stuff. Adult doesn't want to work because it's raining all the time. Guess what? That was our opportunity when they don't want to work, so we have a chance to work.
Oh,
Otherwise, they will come back to their job. We will not have job,
right.
you know. So that was a good opportunity to work under the rain all the time, like get back home shaking because all day long it's been raining. So you have to stay active because as soon as you stop working, moving, you get cold, you just get freezing. So you get active. It forces you to stay active and to work even more. And our employer will love that because you work even more than normal. And yeah, so that's how we do it. And sometime after school, I will stop at the sand mine if I have like a quick job. Maybe if a truck comes and they have to load it. If I have a place to load, because you load, they give money to share. You get something sometime not. And when I was a kid, most of the time they kick you out. Adult didn't want you on it. I'm like, hey, get away of here, you know, because the less they are, more money they get. So they don't want you to fuck around.
Really? I saw that you went back recently, and you're taking photos of you in the sand mine where you worked as a boy. Did I see that on Instagram?
Yeah.
What was that like?
I always do that.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, when I'm home, I always like to do that. It's kind of like, he really helps me to remember everything, like where I came from, how he was, you know. Every time that I go back home, I will go back to all those places that I used to work there. I hated this thing growing up. Oh, you can imagine. I hated the sand mine, everything. I hated my life. But today, it seems like a fuel for my life today. I have to fill up from that life. Go back there, see this. Because most people there are still people that we grew up together. And he allows me to see how far I came from, you know. Like, I think it's the moment that I enjoy the most is like those moments, you know, going back, go to my the house that I grew up into, even though we fix it today, it's not the same, but the environment, like sleeping, have all this nostalgic wake at 5 o'clock, all this animal sounds from outside the birds, all those sound which is like very familiar, bring you back from 20 to 25 years ago. The smells, everything reminds you something, and this always my best moment. Like, I can go there and live in the 5-star hotel, do some crazy stuff, but he doesn't. I don't enjoy that as much. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I always do it. Like, I always go back to the sand mine. This is like a tradition, not just for them, because he helps me. I like it. I feel like, okay, you know, it's kind of like taking my revenge of life. Like, okay, I used to be here thinking this, thinking that, dreaming of this, dreaming of that. Today I have this. Look, that's my car. Look, that's my truck. You know?
Yeah.
Look, that's my house. Look, this is my life. I'm going to fly back to America, even though I'm here. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like living a dream.
Yeah.
Because back then, that was just a dream. A crazy dream. Unbelievable. So I'm living into it right now. Like, yes, doing this 20 years ago, I was dreaming like, man, how it is to be in the airplane, going somewhere. Imagine yourself being in the airplane, going to America or to France or something. Wow. And I go back, I do the same shit. I'm like, guess what? I'm going back to America in 1 week. Yeah.
Right. You're living the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it just reminds you, just
Yeah.
puts you back in that place.
Yeah. And what is crazy is like most of the time it's going to be with the same guy that I grew up with.
Wow.
They're in the same place doing the same thing. And
what is it like for them? Do they ask you questions? Like,
man, you know, and that's why I feel very lucky just to have a different mindset, just to even have a dream, because they don't even have a dream. Most of those people, like, if you ask them, like, okay, what is your dream? Where would you like to be in like 1 year, 5 years from now? He doesn't know. He gave up long time ago. He doesn't give a shit about it. As long as he has something to eat before go to bed, it's okay. That's it. And now I'm like, how can somebody live like this?
right.
But it's their life. You can't do anything. I'm like, but then you will find some people which is a little different. They are like, they have a dream. They're hoping to change their life. Those people over years, you can see the change in their life, improvement, step by step. Like this year, they're gonna say, I want to do this. I wish I can do this. Next year, guess what? Even though they didn't do that, they didn't get that done, they get closer. And next year, and next year, and next year, they move up. But those who doesn't have a dream, you know, they're just there like that.
Do you find some of the people there that do have a dream look at you and they get inspired? They say,
Oh yeah,
look,
yeah. Those who has and I think that's even why some of the reason will keep me going back, and like even in the foundation. Like once I had like a really good friend of mine. This guy is in the village and he's doing good. He's doing his businesses, doing good for a village guy. Like sometime I will come there, he will even give me like a whiskey, find a good whiskey for me. And he said, man, like you just going in America and come back here means a lot to us. Like we grew up together. That means it's possible for us too. That drive us through our dream, like motivate us. Like, yes, if Francis did it, I mean, I might don't do the same thing, but I can get to what I want to, And I'm like, thank you. I really appreciate his word, and he was like very humble, explaining me things, and yeah, and that's why I also like doing my foundation. Like I like to like tell this kid like, listen, I'm not a fairy tale. I'm not a story that you watch on TV that you read in the book. I'm a fact. I grew up here. Most of you knew me before I even live here, which means it's possible. As long as you believe in something, in a dream, as long as you have a dream and believe in yourself, I think a success is just a matter of time.
What is your foundation?
Francis Ngannou Foundation.
And what do you do?
Honestly, the goal is to do everything because there's just a lot to be done back then. There's nothing out there. But as for now, I have a gym for kids because when I was back there with my dream as a kid, I always expecting to have someone come there and have a gym. I was like, this would be cool, so I can train, And the first thing that I did when I went in France, and then I see how there opportunity there, I started to collect gloves, everything that I can have. I started to collect them and ship it home. And over years, I built a gym under the foundation so kids can go there and train. Not because I want them to become a professional athlete, but just because I want them to feel like they matter, like somebody care about them. Because most of the time, that's why kids give up on their dream. They feel like, okay, it's not meant for us. We can't get there. They just let him go, But which is wrong, because I think everybody can make it. It's still difficult, more difficult to somebody than some, but it's still possible for everyone. And from my experience, I mean, it might not be always true, but when you believe, when you have a dream and you believe into, there is no way that you're not going to make it. He might take time, he might come on his own time, but he will always come.
So you have this dream, you leave Cameroon, you end up in France, you end up in Paris? Is that where you went? And what was that like? And how did you get involved in martial arts from there?
So my journey from Cameroon to Paris was 14 months.
14 months to get there?
Yeah. Remember, I couldn't go to the airport and just take a plane to go to France,
So how'd
I
you
have
get there?
to use all the back doors. He was from Cameroon to Nigeria, and in Cameroon, I always been in this triangle city, which is like my village here, the capital, the political capital here named Yaoundé, and the economic capital named Douala here is the triangle that I always been into. I never get out of that triangle. So I'm always like concerned about how it looks like to get out there. But guess what? I don't want to get only out there and still stay in Cameroon. I want to go somewhere else. Where? I don't even know.
So you didn't even know you were going to go to Paris. You just knew you wanted to leave Cameroon.
Yeah. I want to go somewhere that I'll have more opportunity for boxing.
So what was the first day? How did you escape? What did you do?
Where I leave Cameroon, and then from there...
How'd you leave?
Car and train, and get to Nigeria.
Did you save up some money before you went?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just
I saved some money,
this is it.
and I give some of my saving to my little sister to keep it, because where we were going, man, I didn't know exactly how it looks like, but from what I've heard, he was a hare. You're gonna cross a mafia and all those people across the road. You're gonna get robbed, every kind of shit. So you better don't have all your money on you. If you don't get killed, or if you don't kill yourself by taking some risk. So I leave the money to my sister. I'm like, just keep it in your eye. So every time that I call you, be ready to
wire it.
To send it
Right.
where I want, where I asked you. And she was like, where are you going exactly? I'm like, I'm going to the north.
To the north.
Yeah. Where exactly? Just the north. That's it. You ask me where I'm going, and I tell you, because I couldn't tell nobody. Like I remember I went to the village 3 weeks earlier just to see everything, because I'm like, okay, this might be the last time, man. I might never come back. I might just die out there. At least I see my family, I see my village and everything for the last time. And I went back in the village, and I went to my mom, and sometimes I was staring at her like this, was thinking like, maybe this is the last time, man. Man, this shit is becoming serious. Like, and sometimes she crossed my eye, and I'm like, why are you looking at me like this? I'm like, no, nothing. A lot of things was going on in my mind. And I couldn't tell nobody that I'm leaving, because when you tell somebody like I'm leaving, the first question that pops up is like, where are you going? I don't know. And then I'm like, okay, that boxing really started to mess up his head. So I couldn't tell them. I stayed in the village for like 2 or 3 weeks. I see everything. And the last time that I was leaving the village, I think that was a very hard moment for me, because I knew that from there I'm going. I was scared. I was afraid. But it feels like I was forced to do it. I had to do it. I couldn't be into all this. I couldn't be there and see my life turn up the way that he was, and not taking action. You know, few years earlier, my dad passed away. He got sick. He stayed in the home. We couldn't even bring him to the hospital, and we just look at him get sick, suffer until pass away. And I was like, man, if this shit happen again in my family, like, guess if my mom, after all what she have been doing, all the sacrifice as a single mom, if she gets sick today, we should be the one that taking care of her. But I can't do anything. Like, I just gonna sit like here and see my life, and I would like to have kids in my life. And, well, how can I take care of those kids? They're going to go back in the same process, in the same life like me? No, I have to take action. So it was clear in my mind that I have to leave. It wasn't even a choice anymore. It was like an obligation in order to have a better life and bring a potential solution in my upcoming problems. And that's how I left. And when I left my country, I went from Nigeria, and then after Nigeria, we get to Niger.
So what did you do when you go to Nigeria? How long did you stay there for?
No, I didn't stay.
The whole thing was 14 months, right?
Yeah, but the Nigeria trip was really fast. You know, Nigeria is the next country to Cameroon, so we don't even need like a visa to go in Cameroon. So in Nigeria, we are free. We are still free, so everything is still cool. You can still travel normally, and so it took me like 2 days in Nigeria, across the whole Nigeria in 2 days, from Yola to Kano, and then from Kano we found a trip to get in Niger, which is the next country, but more like desertic country, and we went in the south of it, and there we started to be like illegal, because from our country to get from us to get there we need a visa, but from there we didn't have a visa, so we start to have to deal with the police, with the border protection, all these things all day long. You get caught, they ask you for money, like a bribe. Sometimes you don't want to give them all your money, you need that to survive, and sometimes they just like rape you, like they want everything, take your clothes off, find money everywhere, everything of value that they see, they will take it. So he was a game who knows exactly how to hide something. You're gonna have some money, some saving on you that nobody can find it, and they know how to find it because they've been doing this over years.
Right.
All the time, you have to like come up with a new way of keep saving your money. Sometimes we wrap money in the paper and swallow it.
Oh.
In order to get to somewhere, because you know that you can cross this zone without get how they say, like when they check you,
Frisk
without get frisk. So you have to save your money, some money, because you have to survive, you have to keep going, you have to eat, you have to all this. But when they take your money, they don't care about all those. They just want to take whatever they can take. Sometimes throw you in the desert, and you have to like figure out your own way back, and it's hard. No water. That was a hell.
So you had to swallow your money
Yeah, you swallow your money.
and then find it later.
Find it later. You had to.
Right, I get
Like
it.
at this point, it's a matter of surviving.
Yeah.
Everything that you can do to survive.
So did you have to wrap it in plastic?
Yeah,
Like-
you wrap it in plastic to protect it, not to get wet or to get destroyed.
Man.
And we have to cross from the North Niger to Nigeria to Algeria. There is a desert called Sahara.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of
Sahara Desert, yeah.
the Sahara Desert, and it's like one of the biggest over there. And we have those people that they gonna help us pass. They take our money, they keep us in like some room for like few days, and some night they just bring a small truck and put your baggage in it. You don't have to carry a lot of baggage because it's like 50, like Toyota Tacoma.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's gonna be like 25 of you guys in the back.
25 people in a Toyota Tacoma.
Yeah,
Wow.
plus your luggage. So
Wow.
you are not allowed for a lot of luggage. Even water, you don't allowed for certain quantity of water because it takes space.
Oof.
And you are going to the desert,
Yeah.
and you are not allowed with certain amount of water.
How long is the trip?
Normally, it's like 24 hours with a car because it's like very flat. So They don't have speed limit. They can go like 150 miles per hour straight up, and they have to hide from like radars, because sometimes they are like helicopter flying up there looking, checking if there's something going on, because they know that there's a lot of traffic there, not
Right.
only immigrant, but only like guns and drugs and everything. So they always flying there. So they use like talkie-walkie to communicate. It's like a organization. They are well organized, but you have to be lucky so the car don't break up in the middle of the trip, because if the car break up in the middle of the trip, most of the time it's over.
What happens then?
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
You guys might just die.
If you're stuck in the middle of the desert with no
Yeah,
water.
what else?
Yeah.
What else would you do?
Yeah. What else would you do?
Yeah,
So you have
Yes.
to take a big risk.
yeah.
So
It's like 100 at the daytime. It's like 150 degree. Nighttime, he drops to like maybe 20 degree. It's crazy.
Oh,
Get
wow.
cold. At daytime, get hot.
wow.
Yeah. So you have to do that 1 day trip, hoping that, crossing your finger that everything goes well.
If the truck doesn't break down.
Yeah, the truck doesn't break down. And we were in this car, like you couldn't even sit comfortable. I was just sit in the edge, and you have to grab the truck so hard, so you get cramped. And then, but when you get cramped, you can't let him go, because if you let him go, you fall, and that's it. They
Right.
won't stop,
Oh man.
you know. So you have to like keep holding.
So you're hanging on
You're
and you
hanging
get
on.
cramps,
Yeah.
but you can't let go.
Oh, you can't let it go. It's your life.
And it's a whole day.
Yeah. Let him go is like letting your life go.
Oh,
you know, it's
wow.
over if I let him go. There is not second chance. And after a few hours, they might stop, so you guys can stretch up a little bit. But most of the time when they stop, you can't even move anymore. You just like shake your body and fall on the ground like whew. After a few minutes before blood start to flow in your arm
Wow.
and everything, and you're able to like move it.
Jesus.
At some point, you guys don't get water. I remember there was a girl with a baby in that truck, and we were so tight that she could, and she was even in the middle, not even the edge. She was in the middle, but at some point she couldn't do it anymore. She just wanted to throw the baby away.
Oh my
Like
God.
this, how hard it was. Like she couldn't do it, and you can't blame her. And the guy just kept holding the baby to take the baby from her, like holding and helping pass to each other, you know. And yeah, that's how. At some point, we have like a storm of sand. You have to
Oh,
wrap
a storm.
a
Yeah.
storm of sand. So you have to wrap your face and everything, because the sand is just like
Oh.
you go through all this stuff, and even before the middle of the trip, or maybe a little after the middle of the trip, the water is finished. Nobody has water anymore.
Oof.
And these people, they don't give a shit. They just want to drive from this point to this point. Doesn't matter how many people they get there with them. They don't have to report to nobody. They just bring, and those who are still in the truck.
So you're going through a full day mostly without water.
No, not a full day, because at first
Half a day.
you have water.
So half a
almost
day.
like half a day without water.
With no water.
Yes, but luckily, like when your water finished, like maybe at 2 or 3, then by 6
It's dark
the
out.
sun set, and there is no sun. The temperature start to go down, so it's kind of like, you know, so you get dehydrated at the point that you're not sweating anymore. Is a like oil on your face. Like when you do like this, it's like oil coming out of your skin. And that's how we crossed the desert.
So you get through the Sahara Desert.
And
And
then
then,
when we get to this country, the first country in the south of Algeria, we found a water well. And this water well was there for I don't know how long. I think it was something that was being used by the farmer. And it was so dirty with dead animal in it, bird, everything. Man, I'm gonna drain this water, and he might kill me. But
Right.
guess what? I will die after if I don't drink this water. I'm not lasting long.
so you drank it.
So you drink it. You kind of like take the water, put it in the bottle, leave your shirt, and use your
Filter.
shirt as a filter.
Mm-hmm.
Drink the water.
Oh, man.
Try not to feel this, to smell it, not to do anything. You have to, and that's where you kind of like start to understand what you put yourself into. It's just the beginning.
Yeah.
You have to go through all this process now in Algeria of changing your identity, pretending like buy a new passport like you are from from Mali, because Mali, what is the good thing with that? You learn a lot about immigration, about relationship between country. In every country, you know who is their good
Allies.
allies.
Yeah.
Who do they have a good relationship with? So in Algeria, they have a very good relationship with Mali, because Mali helped them where it was a war time.
So now you have to pretend you're from Mali.
Yeah. So all Malian citizens in Algeria, they don't even need visa. They are free as long as they have like a ID. So we all are black, we look the same. We all are from Mali. You have to prove it. You just get some people, they are selling passport. And look at this. Oh, yeah. It's for
Now,
you.
from the time you left Cameroon to the time you get to Algeria, how many days is this?
It's still not long. Like maybe just two weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. No, not too much.
And how are you getting food? And how are you getting by?
You still get money. Like you still get money. You still
You kept
you
some
can-
money.
Yes, you buy stuff. It's like it's like an organization. There is people around who have set up a business just for those type of things.
Just to get you from point A to point B.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone who has set up a business just to change devices, currency. Because from Cameroon to Nigeria is not the same currency.
Right.
From Niger is not the same currency. Niger to Algeria is not the same currency. Everywhere you have to change currency, and there are already people around. You don't know until you get there, and it's good for you because it saves you out of a lot of problem. They are making money on you, but at least you have a solution of your problem in the hand. Yeah, and in Algeria we kind of like buy a passport because we have to go from the south to the north, which is like closer to Morocco. Then we get to Morocco. And all the time you have to get controlled by the police in Algeria. They know that because it's been over years. And then I'm like, why all black people here are Malian?
Huh.
Yeah. But they have like a very difficulty to truly identify some person. So they play it like psychologically. They can take your ID, look at you, your reaction. They might just decide if it's you or not by your reaction. If you're gonna get like a check based on your reaction, So they kind of like play psychology out there, and we passed because I was very very maybe good at it, like when I
Calm.
give calm, like when the cops take my passport, I don't look away, or I don't, like, I pretend like I'm sleeping. When he comes to me, I'm like, I just take my hands up before he asks me. I give him my ID. I look him straight to his eye. That was pretty easy, because when you look somebody in the eyes, your eyes calls his eyes, so he doesn't have time to look your face if it's really you. You can't get out of your eyes, like,
Right.
to look your mouth or your nose or your ears.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like look at him, staring at him like this. So I'm like, yeah, he might be him because he's so confident.
Mm.
But I was afraid as shit. Like,
I can only imagine. Just so far, this journey is crazy.
oh yeah,
Are you second guessing yourself at all during this point? Like, what have I got myself into?
yeah. Because you don't know until you get there, and the thing is, like, you can't go back. You can't turn
go
around.
back, and you
Yeah.
don't even know exactly where you're going.
You don't even know exactly, and at every step you think the next step gonna be easier. Guess what? You always get harder and harder and harder. That's how it is. So you get tired and tired and tired and tired, and at some point you find yourself in the middle of something that you never imagined, but you can't turn around. You can't go back anymore.
And still, this is only, you're talking about a 14-month journey, and we're only a few weeks in.
Yeah,
Phew.
because yes,
So
we
it
are-
just keeps going.
that was just like a warm up. Oh hell yeah!
Oh my God.
Because in Morocco, that was a real one. That was a hell.
That was bad.
Oh, unbelievable life.
Yeah.
Hey, like, even now, sometime when I think about it, I was there. It's not like a story that somebody tell me. I was there myself. I've been through all this thing by myself. Sometimes I still can't believe it. Can you imagine that? So
Wow.
you can't even expect somebody to understand like what you're talking about.
What was Morocco like?
Morocco is a nightmare for immigration. It's like a hell of country from immigration, because it's the country closer to Europe.
Mm.
At some point, the ocean is just like maybe 5 miles. The land in Morocco is just 5 miles from Europe, from Tarifa, which is in Spain. And there is a two small territory of Spain in Morocco, in the Morocco side, which is Ceuta and Melilla. Those two are just protected by the gate, by the fence, with the
Barbed wire?
barber on it. Oh, those barber, they are sharp.
Yeah.
Oh, I can tell you, they are fucking sharp. You almost take my stomach out. Like, cut me here, everywhere. The first time I fell on it, I'm like stuck there. But if I stay there on the barber to expect a rescue, then the military will come, and guess what? They don't joke.
Right.
They will beat you up, basically, when you're a big guy like this, because they know when you're big, I'm like, for them, you are the oldest one. I'm like, you're going to Senegal and bring all those Bambino to go to Europe because you think we don't want to go to Europe. They beat the shit out of you. Like, sometime with a bar of iron, Oh, they kill people just by beating them. There are just some people that they are not educated. They don't know differences. They don't even understand people's struggle. They don't understand nothing. They just took them in the town and train them and give them a bat to beat people.
So they're just the people they use for police. They just take anybody that wants that job.
No, not for the police. There's a different call. There's a special call there just for immigration. Named Ali. Because European Union finance that call to protect their border. Because they know that is like a strategic point from Africa to go to Europe. So they were like, okay, don't let people come there. Like Morocco will be like, that's not our problem. We don't have money to do all those stuff. So they give them money for that. So it's a good business for Morocco to protect. It's like a lot of money in their economy. They have a new core, special core for that. So give a lot of jobs. But man, they don't joke on you. In this side, somewhere you have like 3 fans with the barber, and the other side you have the Guardia Civil.
What is that?
Guardia Civil is a corps in Spain, like a private corps, but they has a lot of power in the security system. And those people, they are not like the Moroccan one. The Moroccan, like they can talk to each other by the fence, but one side is Morocco, one side is Spain. You know, but they are very they have a very a huge high-tech technology equipment for surveillance. Like they have this camera. Like this week I was watching a movie about some movie showing some part of that, and you should watch this. The movie is named Adu. It's a small kid from somewhere in Africa, in Cameroon exactly.
What's the movie called?
Adu.
Spell that?
ADU.
There it is. ADU.
Yeah. ADU. That movie is interesting. You can see some part of that movie. You can see the Guardia Civil, how they operate. Even them, they beat you up. Yeah.
How long were you in Morocco for?
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Because every time that you attempt, and it's not easy, you have to prepare to go attempt. And every time that you attempt, if you fail, if you get lucky, you don't get beat up or all the stuff, they're going to bring you back in the south and throw you in the desert to let you go. So it's their own way to say, go back to your country.
Right.
They leave you like in the border, out of their country, which is in the desert, close to Algeria. Algerian, they don't want you there. Moroccan, they don't want you there. So you have to work like the whole night to get somewhere that you can rest. And to go back from where you were, it takes a lot of time. You know, it's a struggle because we're going to jump into like merchandise train and all those things. All this process is very long. And sometimes you have to go in the water to attempt to like deviate from Morocco to get to this island. But it became very, very complicated because they have radars all the time running, and as soon if you even have a chance to touch the water, you're gonna get caught right away because they have all this high tech, this infrared motion detector,
motion detector,
infrared, all those stuff. They have all those stuff. So even when we go to the fence, because there is somebody who always gonna go check to look where there is a weakness on the fence. It's about 11 miles of fence who protect an island, a small place like this. So here is water. They build like 11 miles of fence like this to protect like Melia.
So you're just trying to figure out how to get through the fence.
where first, because like where everything is still good, you can't even imagine. It's 3 fans with Babylon over every fence. Babylon on the floor in this side, the cup here, the military, Moroccan military on this side. First they have like, they dig a long hole, and then sometimes they put Babylon into it too. So like when you come,
So just barbed wire everywhere.
barbed wire, yes,
Everywhere.
yeah. Plus you have like, I don't know, maybe the first one is like 3 times my height.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So like 20
feet of
20
fence.
feet.
And you got to
The
climb that,
second-
and then
the
barbed
second
wire
one is
all over
little
it.
yes, and the barbed wire is
And how are you
all
climbing
around.
it? How are you
No,
climbing?
you can't climb
Right.
that. So you have to look. You guys, someone gonna have to go and look around and see where there's a weakness somewhere to look, and from far distance, you know, he can go. We call them. I don't know the name
Scout?
in English. Yeah. So he can go there. He can go there and stay sometime like for 2 days in one place, just to observe, check what time the military swift, what time, how do they react this day, how do the everything, what time, what in what interval the Guardia Civil in the Spain side pass with their car patrol, you know. See, this is where there is not too much barbed wire. And when he finds some place, he'll come back. I'm like, okay, I see this place. I think it's good. Maybe somebody is going to take somebody or 1, 2 more people there to go check. They're going to go sleep again, check, read everything, the movement, like, okay, the swift. Then we have a game plan from there. Like, okay, they have a swift at this moment. From this box to that box is like maybe 50 yard or 100 yard. But sometimes there are like empty box between. There is not always a military in every box. They kind of like learn that, like, okay, this box and this box is empty. The swift is at this time. The patrol car pass at this time, at this interval. So we have all this, and like, okay, between the patrol car, after the patrol car leave, we're gonna attack, because it's like 5. Maybe we're gonna attack in 5 or 10 minutes, because he would take them maybe another 10 minutes to come, and that will be enough time.
So that's your opening.
That's the opening.
And
it's like short opening, like 5-minute opening in a one spot, and you have to like do it very well, because if you fail, that will tell them that you guys know this spot already.
Right.
They're gonna come and fix it.
So what is it a hole in the fence? Is it, how are you getting through?
Sometimes it's not a hole in the fence, you know. Sometimes the barbed wire just like
It's broken.
and all these things. And in some places, they kind of like, instead of 3, it's still kind of like 2 or 1, 2. I don't know why, but it's not always like straight.
Right.
Exactly. And you have to find that opening. And when you find that opening, you get prepared. Then you say, okay, we are doing this day. Then sometime you go there. You guys at nighttime, you will go there. The convoy, it might be 100, 200, hundreds of you guys. And imagine like hundreds people walking in some town around with cops living there, and they still have to be like silence, like hiding. Most of the time the cop will see you And when they see this mass of people, they know that they are preparing something. They'll just send an alert. But they don't know exactly what time or when. So hundreds of people, they can lay back in one spot hiding for like 3 days. Yeah, 3 days. When the alert goes on, most of the time, the Guardia Civil in the Spain side, they start to send the infrared, the motion detector all the time. Most of the time, they even send the helicopter to come, like, fly on top. Even if the infrared notice something there, like, sometimes kind of like tricky, it's technology, but it's not always like accurate. We can just stay there, silence. It's crazy how hundreds of people can be silenced at once, since they all know that their future depend of that exactly moment.
Wow.
And
how many times did you attempt to get through?
On the fence, many times. I touched the fence, like I went to the fence, like I touched the fence twice, and cover time we didn't even get to the fence. They saw us even before, because the Guardia Civil, their technology is very high. So we don't even care about the Moroccan military. We know that we can get this guy all day long, But the Guardia Civil, man, all the technology, the motorcycles, the car, even when you get there, it's another deal to run away from them. They're going to chase you all over. They have the motorcycles, motocross, everything to chase you.
So on the 2 times when you went, you just touched the fence and you got stopped, what happens then?
Oh, the first time I get caught, very caught, multiple wounds, and I get back in the forest bleeding. I mean, I was just like trying to get back as fast as I can, because that place wasn't good. The guy told us, oh, it's like this, I saw, but it wasn't as he said. And we went, and those who touched the fence, they get really hurt. We didn't expect it to be that way, but it was a lot. There were a lot of barbed wire, and I get it. I was bleeding all over my hands, my feet, because I fell into it. And that was my very first time. I saw it, and I didn't know exactly how to deal with it. I fell like in the middle of it, man. So with the pen, like when you fell on it, you just come and like tack, 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 tack. But the problem is to get out of there. To get out of there, that's where it started like cut.
Yeah.
I can't stay there. If those guys caught me there, they're probably gonna kill me. Big as I am, they know that I'm the leader, because they always wanna done with the leader.
Right.
And I just pull my leg, my hands. I'm like, fuck.
Oh.
I get caught by this, or I get killed by those guys. And probably they're still going to pull me here the same way.
Yeah.
So I get out of there. Then I went to the fan, look at the fan like this. Man, the barbed wire was just on it like this. I try, like, the other group was like moving around to find a safe place, and the military was with them. So I was technically alone here. I look at this fan like this, touch the barbed wire. He just came down like touching on my face. I'm like, you know what? Stay there.
Wow. So how'd you get back over?
I get back in the, I found a place, because they have the military there, they have places behind their boxes to come. They have a walkway here around the fence. So I found a place, then I walked back through there. There wasn't a military there anymore. But by that time, I was like pissed off. Like, even if there was a military there, it wouldn't be like many of them. Like, even when I first ran, like there was a few of them. I'm like, I'm gonna go through these guys. You know? Like, okay, there's like 3 people in front of me. There's my life in behind them, my future.
Right.
Man, I'm taking my chance. Oh, every day I'm taking my chance. I'm not letting you like just 3 of you because you have it. Nah,
Right.
I'm going with you. But there wasn't a military there. There was
So this was the first time.
Yeah, that was the first time that I really touched, and I introduced. We met each other, the barbed wire, and I'm like, hey man, respect. I went back in the forest, bleeding all over. I'm like, man, I know that if I go to the hospital, the police gonna cut me because since they know there is an attack, they know there is a lot of wounded people, so they're gonna be looking at the hospital. But I mean, or I stay in the forest and die by losing my blood, or I go in the hospital, then I get caught. Maybe they send me in the desert, but at least I'll still be alive.
Right.
Then I decided at some point to go to the hospital. Yeah, I get some stitches. The police came. It wasn't even done. They just took me like that.
Wow. While you're getting stitched up?
Yeah, while I'm getting stitched up, they don't care.
You felt like you had to get stitched up though.
Oh yeah. But they don't care about anything, you know. I mean, I don't know if they even realize that you are a person of your hurt, you know. They just took us there. Yeah, that was the first time.
And what happens when they catch you?
Well, they bring you to the police station. You will stay there a few days, and then because this is in the north, the south is very far. So you're gonna go to bring you to the south is a very long trip. When they catch you guys, they'll put you in the keep you in the police station until you are there enough of you, maybe to fill $1 to make a trip in the south. So, but since there was a massive attack, there was a lot of people that got caught. So the same day, they took us in Ushta, which is in the south, and you sleep there like 1 or 2 days, and they wait until the nighttime. They go to the border in the desert and throw you guys there. Then you figure your way up between Algerian military who are not joking, because sometimes when they hear noises, they just shoot. Those people, they are crazy. So you have to deal between them, run, hide. It's very hard to hide in the desert. You know,
Yeah.
It's flat,
Right.
just sand, no trees or grass. Kind of like very hard.
How do you hide? Do you have to cover yourself in sand?
Yeah, and scroll, all those things. Like sometimes you go on the floor like a snake, like cram, until you figure out there's no noise. Like there's not somebody around, then you start to walk. At least you know, like, okay, I'm going to the north. I'm following that light, which is in the north, which is in Morocco, which is where I want to go. I want to be, you know, that's how we go. Because there was a big airport. There was a Moroccan airport not far from there. So we always use the airport light to direct ourselves to where we are going. So yeah.
How long did it take for you to get back to the border again, to touch that fence again?
This journey is not like one trip there is not that easy. It takes a lot out of you. Most of the time you don't eat. So you're not really excited after you fail one time. You're not excited to go back there.
Right.
You're tired.
Right.
I'm like, man, I mean, you kind of like drop your hands like, I don't believe this will happen one day. I don't believe I will make it. It's not possible. It was hard, you know. But after a few days, you kind of like taking putting your your stuff together. I'm like, man, there's no way I'm going back. I have to do this. And sometimes, instead of like thinking of going back to the fence, you're like, okay, let me go try in the water or something. You go, you try. But for the water, you have to like have a money, because you have to collect the money. You guys have to collect money to buy a flexible boat, to
A boat?
a boat
Yeah.
to ram. Just a small one, the one that they use in the swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take big a lot to
Just something that floats.
yeah, to float. You can just with a nail, you can just like bust that
Right.
boat. Like
It's very thin, just a raft
yes,
for kids.
yes, for kids, for swimming pool,
Right.
for at home.
Right.
You see that in people pool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this is how you're trying to get by.
this is how we trying to get in the ocean.
Wow.
And but at least we have a life vest. That's the minimum. You have to have that,
Yeah.
because you don't know what's going on in there.
Right.
And sometimes you get caught even before you touch the water. And sometimes you get in the water, after a few hours, you get caught. So I tried the deviation to go to Ceuta, which is another Spain land in Morocco. That was a deviation. Didn't work. Try a few times. Then I went back in Tangier. Tangier is the main ocean, straightforward, from land to land. There is no deviation, straight ahead. So like you literally like go in the middle of ocean, deal with the fisher with the boat, commercial boat crossing all over. You have to be lucky not to be seen, not to be detected, or someone not to give the alert to the
Border Patrol.
border patrol
Yeah.
in Morocco, and they are very aware of that, very ready. And that's how like I did it a few times too. It didn't work. Once I did it, and this time I thought we made it, because we paddled over like 3 hours. And we always like put our boat in the water like around 5 to 6 early in the morning when they start to pray. We always with that sign of, because they always protect everything, stay everywhere all night. But the time of prayer, they really respect the time to pray, which is basically 5:30. Then we always, if we get in our spot at time, we're gonna wait from that time. The Allahu Akbar is like the sign. They're going to pray.
Right.
It's the open
So
moment.
you hear that, then you get in the water.
Yeah. And they have to pray. And they know that we use that open moment. So after their prayer, they kind of like patrol
Right.
to search those who have attempt, And this time that we thought we made it, like we get past all those. So there wasn't, after 3 hours, that they will not be there again. They are back home. And we cross all these commercial boat, the fish, those people fishing. We are going on our way. We have a target in the other side, the
light.
mountain, or not the mountain, because it was already the daytime. You mean when you get a start at 5:30, after 45 minutes, it's a daytime. But you're kind of like in the middle of the water already. And we paddle, we get there. And that was my first time that some group of people trust me to be a captain. Because I always say, I can be a captain, I know how to paddle. And I'm like, you just want to a free trip. Because when you're a captain, you don't participate to buy a boat. they use your knowledge. It's kind of your participation.
Okay.
You know, I'm like, I can't do this. They're like, there's no water in Cameroon. You don't even know to swim. Those people that they believe in them is the Senegalian. Like, when you're like from Senegal and you're like, I'm captain, they don't even have to test. They're like, yeah, it's from Senegal.
Because it's close to the water.
Yeah. And most of the time, they know this trick. And all of Senegalian, they're captain. Then you bring some Senegalian in the water, and then you have to teach him how to paddle. I'm like, man, I'm not buying this anymore. I'm like, I'm a captain. But once those kids, they trust me, and then we went there in the beach. We were a little late because they came late with the boat. And those first like group, they tried, and the wake was so high they couldn't make it.
The wake, the water, like the waves.
The waves.
The waves.
Yes, the waves was so high, because we have to check like meteo and everything. We know the speed of the wind. We know the direction, if it's like north, south, southwest, northwest, southwest, all these things. We know that. And I just learned that in Morocco. Like, I was a specialist at it. Like, I can look, I'm like, oh, today is not good, man. We can't even try. And yeah, that day we go, and he was like, so. We tried. The first group, there was many group before us, because we made it late. They couldn't make it. The waves was so high. Throw them away. They try again. Throw them away, and they kind of like gave up. And then I put my own. I put air in it, and then I give instruction to my guys, like, okay, when I say go, you guys first go. When I say go, you guys first go. Because as much as we're going in the water, it get deeper and deeper. And at first, we can all get into when it's not so deep, because we don't have the pressure on it. So it has to like be very at some point before all of you guys get into. And as a captain, you have to be the last one to get into, to put all your guys into, care about them. And I was a captain who doesn't know how to swim. But I was the man. Like, I say, okay, I organize everything, give them paddle and everything. We get there. I put them, I count the waves, like 1, 2, 3, because most of the time it's like 3 waves. And the third one will be the biggest one. Then when the third one just falls, we just go behind the third one. And you have to be very fast, because the 3 next one is coming. No firing. Like, after the third one, we go. I put them, and the first one came. It was still okay. I was still putting someone. Second one, put them. They were all inside. The third one came. It was the biggest one. And those people who was trying before, they were trying before us. They couldn't they was back to wait so we can fair, and we go back together. And I'm like, he think he can make it, you know. Then the third wave came. That was like a something that you see in the movies.
No, just
And
smashed you.
I hold my boat. I'm like, I trust myself. I trust my boat. Like, I hold it like this. I saw this thing came. I'm like, put my head in the water, hold my boat like this, and it came, blew like on top of me. My boat was, because he has a rope around it. I hold it, and he goes like, bring it back. I was just like with my head under, like, I bend my head like a torture, like bend like this. It goes, and when he came back, I pull my my boat back. Man, they scream like, what the hell is this? I put it, and then I just jump on top, like, let's go. So we paddle before the next start to go, because he's very high by the beach. When the wave roll like this and he start to hit the sand, he comes up. But more you go in the middle of the water, you don't see that wave
Right.
anymore. So
you're 3.5 hours in.
uh-huh.
You said you got like 3.5 hours in deep.
No, 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yes.
3 hours deep.
Yeah. 3 hours in the ocean.
Then what happened?
Then this this army boat from Morocco, I don't know where they came from. They was just passing by, like a big, massive ship. And they passed behind us. You know, the international line was behind us. You know, the line that the commercial, because I've been there many times. I kind of like figured out where is the commercial line, the middle.
So
line.
you passed the Morocco side. Now you're in the Spain side. And Morocco
Kind of.
should have left you the fuck alone.
Yeah, normally, you know. But, and they almost left us. They went like down and they turned around. It wasn't their job. This was just like a army, a officer, an army officer, like a big ship. Not the one that they used to chase us though. And they came with this big ship, man. They just come in front of us. We kind of like lost. We don't know where we were going anymore. This thing was just in front of us, like we are blind. We can't see anything anymore. We don't even know the direction. And then they stay there. They called the board protection, the water protection. Guess what? There was nobody there anymore, because they knew that it wasn't the time that we are in the water. And they left. They went for breakfast and this. They called. There were nobody around there. They have to call some ship in another city, so they can. It takes them like 30 minutes. It took them like 30 minutes to come over and to take us. So why do they come in our front? Because they know that the Red Cross can see us. And the Red Cross is coming from the other side. Because as soon as they started to turn around, we always have a phone with a Spain SIM card.
Oh.
And we have a Red Cross number.
So you have a phone with a Spain SIM card in it, so you can call the Spain Red Cross.
Yeah.
Oh.
We call the Red Cross because their job is just to save people.
Oh.
They don't want to know where you're coming from, where you are from.
Right.
That's not their problem. They just know that this is a life to save.
Right.
They save life. And we called them, but we couldn't tell them even where we are. They couldn't even see us. There was this ship, big things in front of us. I mean, it make us invisible.
Right.
And we waited until they come take us.
And what happened then?
We go back to the same process. Police station, a few days in the police station, then another city, a few days, throw back in the...
Take it back to the desert again.
To the desert again.
Jesus
and you start
Christ.
over. That was in December 2012.
So
Man,
how many months into this trip are you now?
Since I left Cameroon April 3rd. Yeah. It took me about 3 weeks to get in Morocco. So I was in Morocco for so long now. And I mean, that wasn't my first try. That was, I have tried many times.
Right.
Man, that day I was pissed off.
Because you were close.
I was close, this close. Like you see your life, you see your dream turn to nothing like that. You go back to hell. Then from there, I don't know why I promised myself that with all those experiences, I promised myself that the next time that I'm touching this water, I'm done. I'm not coming back. Like, you know, like when you get into this, you get mad. You're like, yeah, you get into it. Like, it's time. I'm doing this.
Right.
It's like you have to take your revenge. But the winter was coming. It was cold. The water was so bad. We couldn't try it anymore by that time. But the good thing is, from there, people give me credit for being a captain. A captain. I'm like, why? He's a hell of captain. Like right where they left us in the beach, they couldn't make it. They saw how I put it. So they went back. And I'm like, we have a damn captain here named Vandam, because back there they was calling me Vandam.
Why Vandam?
Oh, they always have nickname for me.
Oh, okay. What does Vandam mean?
Vandam, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh. That's awesome.
Yeah, if it's not Schwarzenegger or
Oh, that's funny. 'Cause you're a hero.
Gladiator.
Yeah.
No, it's always, they always give me a nickname.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they're all hero nicknames. Schwarzenegger, Gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you finally get through?
The next time that I touched the water. So after the winter,
How long ago? How long passed? Like how many more months?
like 3 months and a half. So all the winter we couldn't make it. We go back to the forest to attempt the fan again, but that life condition was so harsh. Couldn't do anything. Like get cold all the time. No clothes, no food. It's really hard. You have to go to the market at night time to go find food in the trash, you know, sometimes arguing with rat in the trash, like, hey, get away of these tomatoes. It's mine.
Man.
This rotted tomatoes is mine, not yours, you know. Go back in the forest, figure out how to cook that in the aluminum bucket or something.
So if it wasn't your life, you would never believe this. And even though it is your life,
No, I couldn't believe it.
even though it was your life, it's still hard for you to believe.
Yep. You know, the first time that we went in the water, like, we were led by a Ivory Coast guy. And this guy, he was a good captain. He knows the thing. He knew exactly what he was doing. And he was very good in the water. He knows how to swim. He knows everything. So they saw us. That was our first time. And this guy had a lot of experience into this. And he's been there for so long. So he's kind of like mad about it. Like, okay, it's time. I'm done with this. I have to do it. Whatever is the risk. You know, as time goes by, you're kind of like open to take more risk. You know, at first I'm like, I don't know about this. It's risky. It's dangerous. And then after time, over and over, I'm like, damn, whatever it takes, I'm doing it. You know, he was at that point. We weren't there yet. He was there already. And then he brought us to, this supposed to be a deviation, but they saw us before, the military saw us before we get in the water. And he was in the dark. We was on the hill. There was a big hill like this. We have to go all the way down to touch the water. But in the middle of the hill, there was a road, and the military patrol was there. We put the air on our boat right in the upstairs in the dark, and get the paddle to some people to carry, so we can carry the boat, because we have to like really protect him. Even a stone or something can just bust it.
Right.
We have to really be very careful. And then by the road, there was a patrol guy with a torch, because they send an alert that something is going on in your area.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy just saw us and we thought it was over. This captain, he just like let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm like, going where? We are not saying nothing. But you hold the boat, he's going with the boat. This is your life. You're not letting him go with your life, so we just followed. And we, in the dark, and we just fell in the water, like, toop, toop, the stone and everything. We had a chance. Our boat didn't hit on something, so it was still good. But they caught the two people behind, because it was 6 of us. They caught the 2 people behind
With the oar.
with the paddle.
Oh, okay.
So we fell in the water, no paddle, and the military they was just there, and I'm like with their torch, in the dark. When you're in the dark, there might just be 4 of them, but they use the torch and like sweep it like this. It blinds your eyes. You don't know where you're going, but we get calm. You just hold the boat. This is my life. I'm not letting this go. I'm dying with it. We found ourselves in the middle of the water, and they're like, Haji, comrade, Haji, like, come here, in Moroccan. I'm like, no, we are not coming. We're trying to get there, and when we get in the boat, we find out that there are 2 of us missing, basically those with the paddle.
Right.
How do we gonna paddle without paddle?
Right.
And I was thinking that we're just gonna give up, like, turn ourselves in. The guy was like, listen, we're gonna paddle with our hands. I'm like, okay, this guy might be stupid or something. Like, people die in the ocean paddling with the real paddle, and we are just gonna paddle with our hands. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen to me. Was very confident, good captain. Like, motivate you guys. Like, listen to me. You see that light? We are going there. You guys, you do this on this side. You do this. We do this. We do that. I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, as you say so. I sit in the boat. I'm like paddling, touching the water like this. I'm like, you guys, you should put your hand deeper so you can pull the water. That's how the boat gonna move. I'm like, okay. Just doing it, like, oh, whatever. I'm like, okay, when the boat is going this way, you guys, you should stop paddle, and then you guys should paddle faster so he can bring it back. This is how we direct the boat, Man, for real, our first time, I'm gonna die just like this. My family don't even know. They won't even see my body, man. I won't even, man. And I'm like, well, I'm already into it. There's no way back. Keep doing it. And at some point, we were like very desperate. At some point, I just look in the back, around. I'm like, see, the mountain was like far. I'm like, where were we? Like, because I thought we was just like few yards away. He was moving. I'm like, where were we? The guy said, like, you don't see it? That mountain. I'm like, so we came from there to here by hand? He said, yes. Man, you don't know. Like, I don't know. Suddenly I have this crazy power and energy. I'm like, man, we are going to make a story then. We are going to make it in Europe, paddling with our hands. Oh, so he's walking. Then I started paddling. I became a captain at that moment. Like, so excited. I'm like paddling this side. The guy, there was some guy here, even my cousin. He was throwing up and this. I was paddling here, turn here, paddling, move here, paddling this way, block here. I was like, man, we are making stories. Nobody never made this. They have seen a lot of things. middle of this one. We paddle, and the boat was moving like, I'm like, we are making it. We're gonna make this. But unfortunately, that night, since they caught two of us, they sent the alert to those guys ahead. So they sent like the this boat, machine boat. So at some point, we just heard this guy. He said, hold on, silence. Do you hear this? I'm like, what? I'm like, there's an engine somewhere here. So, and then I said, I don't hear it. I'm like, they know where we are. They're kind of like looking for us. And I'm like, how come? Like, I'm telling you. Then he said, okay, if they come here, just say it was 3 of you guys. Like, yes, but we are 4. I'm like, I'm gonna swim, I'm gonna get in the water. We are in the middle of the ocean, bro. Don't die on us. I mean, if you're done living, but don't just die here, you're gonna traumatize us. And then here I'm like, believe me, just say it was 3 of you guys. So when they pull you, I'm gonna hang on it, and then when they coast, I'm gonna continue by swimming because it's gonna be very close. Man, how crazy is this? In the middle of the ocean, this guy get in the water, and suddenly they just put a light on us. I don't know how they call that light. Spotlight, the projector. And it was very bright. Like, you can't even see nothing. So we are bending our head like this, covering our eyes to see a little bit. And since they told them it was 4 of us, and they just see 3. So they knew that there was somebody somewhere else. They have to look for that person. And they started turn around, and our captain, he was like very good at swimming. Getting in the water there, get out there, just put his head out there. We could have see his head like just swinging like this, and then get in the water, get out there, swinging like this, like a fish. I'm like, man, it's crazy. But they found it, and they caught him. They took us, put us in there, bring us.
Same thing?
That was the first time.
And this is the same thing. They take you down. They bring you down to the south.
Yeah, same thing, same trip.
Let you go in the desert.
Yep.
Whew.
And but we get lucky. We didn't get beat up because the officer was there. Officer, they are like they went to school. They kind of like civilized. They speak French, so they talk. They understand. They speak with you, and I'm like, you African, you're crazy, because they call us African. Well, like, guess what? You're African too. I'm like, no, we are Malcaribbean. I'm like, oh, whatever.
Right. It's a big continent.
Yeah.
So how did you eventually get through?
That was in my number 7 time in the water.
7th time.
Yeah, 7th time. April 3rd, 2013.
Wow.
And when we get rescued by the Red Cross, because I was already like, I had a lot of experience. I already know how to duck raiders and everything. You learn a lot of things doing this, Like we took either the aluminium paper and wrap it around the boat.
That blocks the radar?
Yes, it blocks the radar.
Really?
Yeah, either the CD disc. A military. One guy told us that once where they get caught. They said, oh, we saw you guys since even before you touched the water, but we just wait to come cut you after. And like, give us these tips, like, next time. But we saw you, and we didn't even want to, but we have to.
So they told you. So he didn't want to get you, but he told you he had to.
It's his job.
But right. But he told you if you just wrap it in aluminum foil, no one's
Yeah.
gonna see it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, he told us. So over time, I like kind of like accumulate all this experience, and I'm like, okay, next time that I'm touching this water, I'm not coming back.
So how'd you do it?
So I was in the forest then for the whole winter, and because I couldn't even go back to the city to find a job, I was done with that. I'm like, man, I'm done with that. I could have just stayed in Cameroon and keep working the same thing. I'm not coming to a foreign country doing the same shit. Like, it's over. I'm here for something. I stick on what I'm here for. I don't want to get distracted. I stay in the forest. So every day before I go to sleep, I remember why I'm here. Every day that I wake up, I see Melia out there, and I remember it reminds me why I'm here. I don't want to go back in the city in Rabat or Casablanca or this anymore. I'm done with that. I'm staying here. But after the winter started to get over, I had a friend who called me, and I'm like, Francis, I have this guy. They have a boat. The water is starting to get better now. Not too much waves and this. They have a boat. I would like you to come to assist so we can take them together. Like, I trust you than myself. You should come. I call my in my country, ask for my mom and my brother, like, I need money. I'm like, we don't have money. I'm like, man, figure out. I have some pig, some stuff before I leave. I'm like, sell everything. I need money. I need clothes and shoes, and I need to buy a box ticket to go to this city. They figured out. I think they found like $200. Sent it to me. I went to the bus station. I bought box ticket. It was two of us, me and one of my cousin friend. My cousin have made it by the gate, and we couldn't even made it because there were cops all around. So we didn't want to find. I didn't want to find myself in Ushda in the desert anymore. By the winter, if you get there, it's not good at all. It's like what, maybe 30 degrees in Ushda, and you don't have clothes, and in this condition, you don't come out there the same. It takes a lot out of you. So we get back in the forest. We couldn't make it, and the next day, like at not the next day, maybe 2 days after, because all the time the police come in the forest to chase us. They know where we are in the forest. The forest is very big, very pretty close to the city, but they come and they're trying to surround us because it's many of them, and we always have somebody looking up, like looking for the police. By 4 a.m. sometime, you will just sleeping. You will just hear like boomla. When you hear boomla, cops is around.
What does that mean? What does boomla mean? Police?
Yeah, kind of. It's not like police, but the action that the police, we call the action boomla.
Okay.
Like, so they come to catch us. We
Right.
call that action. It's not like a it's like a slang.
Mm-hmm.
Slang.
Slang. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you hear that boomla, you have to run.
Right.
We have this plastic that because in the forest, we put stones together, build like a little shadow, and then find a plastic and put on top of it, not to get wet when we are sleeping.
Right.
So we built 2 feet high, put plastic on top, and then get inside and sleep. We beg for blanket. We have some people donate us. Even some association who will come sometime give us medication. Sometime we will get blankets. So your main things is your plastic and your blanket. But sometimes when the police comes, they put the fire on your blanket and your plastic. So whenever now when they say boomla, you have to save your blanket and your plastic, because that's your like survival toys.
Right.
You know, without them, you're nothing.
Right.
Like you're gonna have a nightmare night. You know. And so when they say boomla, the first thing you do, you wrap your blanket, you wrap your plastic, you climb on top of the tree. Sometime to hide it, but sometime they climb on top of they see that, and they climb on top to take it and burn it. So you wrap it. Sometime you just run with it. You don't know like how this run gonna end. Maybe you're gonna get caught because they always surround you. Then we're gonna like sometime when you find out that you get surrounded, you just go to hide somewhere, and you're gonna stay like immobile for hours, because they have like how they call binoculars to look from the other side, and they communicate over the talkie-walkie, like seeing if there is emotion somewhere, some people. So we have to like get in the hardest part in the forest that they can get there, even if they are suspecting that we might be there. Just this stake doesn't allow them to go there because they get hurt. So you have to go to this pain to support all this pain. Like, okay, he's hurting, but this is my only way to survive, because they can't come there to find you.
Right.
Even though, because they are not sure 100% that you're there to take all that risk. So you have to stay quiet for like hours. Then under the rain sometime, whatever is the issue, you have to stay there. And sometimes if you know, like really surrounded, if you see them before they surround you guys, you just start to run over the mountains for hours before, then spend a few hours in the run before came back in the evening, like knowing that okay, they might be back, because they have to go back. They get tired too. They have to eat. They have to do all these things. You can take that, but they cannot take that as much as you guys. So that's how we do that. So after missing my boss to go to Tangier, 2 days after I came back, and I have some phone. You know, we have some phone. It was just for call, and I turn on my phone because we always turn off to save batteries. It has to stay like 2 weeks. You don't want to go down there in the internet shop while maybe charging your phone, get caught by the police, which is very stupid, you know. And so I turned my phone on. I saw like 12 missing call. I'm like, well, something's going on. I called some people, and I'm like, man, Ito Boza. Which means the guy that was waiting for me, he made it in Spain. I just see the sky fell on top of my head. I'm like, damn, what the hell? Like, I should have been in this. I'm like, man, what do I do to deserve this? Everything is turning wrong for me. I'm doing everything, like nothing is going well. But guess what? I'm out of here. I'm not staying here anymore. Then I'm like, some people was like texting me like, okay, we have come here. We're going to organize. We're going to buy a boat. I'm like, bro, I don't have time to wait for we're going to buy a boat sometime soon. I'm going for those. And I have these people that this guy that he been texting me, being like, we want you to go with us, this, that, like literally begging me to be the captain, because I was a famous captain by the time. And I'm like, man, you ready? I'm like, yes. I said, I can't sleep here in the forest. I can't take it. I just go to the bus station, book a plane ticket. I'm like, I get caught. Whatever happens. I'm not going back. I didn't get caught. I get back in Rabat. The guy was in Rabat. They was working. And I'm like, this was Tuesday. Monday night, I get there Tuesday morning. Here I'm like, hey, we are working to these people. They're going to pay us on Saturday. I'm like, guess what? I can stay until Saturday. I can't. We are going on Thursday. Here I'm like, okay, go there and see how things. We will go see how things work, and the other people will come, because we collect our money together to buy this boat. So, and for now, it's still like the end of the winter, so the water is not that calm. You have to like find a window, and for that you have to check like the weather, the meteor all the time, every day, every single day. So we move on Thursday. We travel to Tangier. We get, as soon as I touch ground in Tangier, I get fever. I get sick. I couldn't tell them that I'm sick. They were counting on me to bring them in Europe. So I can't like show any sign of weakness, like to let them know that something is wrong. I didn't have any money left. Couldn't even buy food. But, I was very known in Tangier and very trusted. So sometimes I'm like, hey man, just give me food. Like whenever I get money, I'll pay you. And some few people, they trust me. They know me. And sometimes they give me. But I always give some little service to people to get money. Like first, if somebody want to know how is the meteor, how is the weather, if the weather is good or not, even though I looked already, I'm like, oh man, you have to pay for the internet for me to look that. Otherwise, you won't know. And because I know exactly how it works, so I can pull up that thing and show him like, okay, you see this, the wind is 10 miles per hour, so it's kind of like high. He has to be like maximum 8 miles per hour, like 3 miles per hour is good, and the wind is north to south, while we are going from south to north, so the wind is opposite way and it's very strong, so we're going to be hit by them. You're going to slow us down, we can't make it. So I kind of like explain all that process to them, and they like it. So when somebody needs to know exactly what's going on when they are preparing, they're going to ask me. I'm like, you have to pay for my internet. Like sometimes I'm like, hey man, I can't look that thing. I'm like, okay, we're paying for internet. I'm like, hey man, I'm so hungry, so I can't even see. My eyes is blind. So they're going to buy me something to eat. Wow. That was my trick to eat sometime.
Wow.
And they will buy you like a bread with
So how did you finally do it, though? How did you finally get across?
That was the last time.
That was the last time.
The last time.
So you made it all the way through.
Yeah. People saw me. Some people saw me, and I'm like, oh, if this guy is Van Damme is your captain, so that means you are not coming back here. And people they even want that guy to kick out some people and put them back. They're trying to like pay extra money just for for him to put them up. Like I can't. It's not mine. It's not my call. We collect. We put money together to buy it. So I'm not the one in charge. We are all in charge. I can't put somebody out. And they was like, yes, because you have a lot chance to make it since you have found them as a captain. And like, okay, how many are you guys? 9. But we can take 10. Like, no, the captain say 9 because we are big guys. And normally this thing shouldn't even be taking 9, even though sometimes they put more than 9. But we are big guys. I don't count myself as one person. I have to count it like 2%.
Yeah.
Because if you miscount, you're putting your life in risk. And that's how we get there.
So you finally made it all the way to the other side. You call the Red Cross.
I finally, I waited because the water wasn't so good those days. I waited, and now I'm like, okay, this day, next Tuesday, is good. And he calls. So, not to let the police in the city, because they control the bus station. If they see too much people come in, basically with big bags, they kind of figure out something is going on.
Right.
They are preparing something.
Right.
Then they're going to reinforce the security. So, we let them, other people, back in Rabat with the boat and paddle and everything. They just came the same day that we left because we didn't want to bring any attention
right.
to us. And I'm like, Tuesday is the day. And I'm like, so I can tell them to come on Tuesday. I'm like, yeah. Okay. They're coming on Tuesday. I have to find this taxi driver who's gonna take us because they are not authorized to do that. But there are some people who did it because it's like a mafia. You have to pay way more. Stuff that they will pay $20, or he asks you for $150 or $200 because it's illegal. It's taking risk.
Right.
Then you agree with it. You need that.
Right.
You need that person to do that work for you and to help you go where you're going. We get the driver ready, put everything together. When they came on Tuesday, and I was still sick, but getting better. Normally, the captain doesn't support to carry anything because they save him. He has to save his energy for the big work, which is to paddle, to direction everything, to coordinate everything in the water. But where we were going to put our Odiak, our boat, there were a lot of cops there. We couldn't make it. So we have to go all the way around. We couldn't go back. And it's like going in the forest, jump in the fence, all those stuff. And it's gonna take long time, a very long time, because the forest was very dense. And the way that these people are moving, I'm like, we are not going to make it. So I have to take this boat and carry it. I'm like, okay, you guys, if you want to go, you better follow where the boat is going. Because I won't be waiting for you guys since you're supposed to carry the boat.
They're moving too slow.
Yeah, you're moving too slow. We go all night long until at the end we end to a place like a big steep. It goes down like this. Those kind of place that when you go down, you can't come back anymore.
Right.
And then we went down there. We all made it. The problem now, where to put it, because they were all stones, no sand, no beach. The original place was like a beach.
Mm-hmm.
So with sand, so we can walk and put our boat, we can put the air in it. Oh, everything was perfect there. But those places
Too much rocks. So you don't want to get the
yes.
raft damaged.
Yeah. Then I'm like, okay, how are we gonna do this? You know, sometime when it's the day, nothing can stop you. And everything is putting himself together to like make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I told the guy, I was the captain. I have to figure out. They don't care. You are the captain. That's your business. They are hoping they just wait for you. Basically, for most of them, it was their first time. So they don't even know how it works. I was just expecting them not to turn back when they sees the water in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the time, oh, I want to go in Europe. I want to do this. Collect money, buy the boat, get there, see the water, see the wave, hear the wave, like, boom. I'm like, I don't want to go to Europe anymore. Like, I'm not getting in there. I'm going back.
Right.
You know what? Take the boat, take the craft. I'm not in it anymore. Take my money, everything. But the problem, if somebody did that where we are, the only way back is to go back to the beach, and there was a police there. And the police will know, they will know that something is going on here.
Right.
And they will send an alert, so they will come.
So you have to make sure everybody goes with you.
I have to make sure nobody give
leaves.
up.
Right.
Nobody leaves. First, I told them, like, okay, guys, wait here. Let me go find the place. When something means to happen, everything comes together to make it happen. Like, suddenly, I found a place just enough to put the air on the craft. I mean, he was this small, like this table. Not even as much as this table, a little smaller. Then I'm like, wow, this is cool. We can put the air here. But how to get between the stone to get in the water? You know, because he doesn't have to touch the stone. The stone has to
Scrape it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't have to touch the stone. And basically, like with the waves keep smashing you. You can really get in the you can smash you over the stone. And when the waves smash in the stone, it's not the same way that the waves smash in the beach.
Right.
Because in the beach, the sand is like this, so it's taking it like this. But the stone is just strong and there,
Right.
and it's like boom.
Right.
So you better don't be in between
Right.
stone and the waves. And so I'm like, okay, where do we gonna go? Suddenly, some place appeared to be like right there, so like a working place between stones. And I walk around, look, and I found a small beach, like just as this table, just to put the boat. Like I always keep asking myself, like, that place really exists, or it was just something that God put it there to make us go because it meant to happen. Like, I'm not sure. It was just so perfect for a very weird place to find out all those things together.
Just a small enough beach, just
Small
perfect.
enough, just a small enough place to go to the beach, from the stone to the beach. Man, just perfect. I went back. I told this guy, let's go. Then I'm like, so I have to like change my tongue, how I talk. I have to
Motivate them.
not only motivate them. It's not about motivate them. You have to scare them. They have to look scared at you than at the waves.
Yeah.
Because you are not taking a chance that somebody turn around.
Right, and quit. And then
yeah,
get you
and
caught.
quit. If somebody quit, you're getting caught.
Right.
So I took a paddle, just start yelling on them, like fainting them, like, like,
Yeah.
man, just
scare the
change.
shit out of 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has to be like the point that he gonna be afraid of get scared of the waves, but turn around, see me, get scared of me. So he better keep going. Otherwise, we are not
Otherwise you're
making it.
doomed. Right, you're not going to make
Yeah,
it.
you have to do that.
You have to do it.
So I changed, and I was like fainting on them with paddle, like, I'm gonna smash you, like, do this, do that. And we put everything together, go in the water keep turning, because in between stones, even though it was a beach, but the water there was very weird, like turning around, and keep throwing us. I'm like, no, man, we are going this way. Put in the third time, we made it. We start to move. We get out of that place, and keep going, and we paddle. From what I saw on the meteor, the rain's supposed to.
When you said meteor, is that like meteorologist report? Is that what you're saying? Like, is that
yeah?
The just more the weather or the waves?
No, the weather, the waves, everything, the wind,
Right.
Yeah.
All the different things.
All the different things in the water,
Okay.
because I have to know the state of the water that I have to deal with.
Right.
So I found all that. I had all those information. I know exactly. I even know that at 7:30, rain gonna fall. So I'm like, okay, if we go at 5:30 to 6, it's gonna be like 1 hour and a half. We're gonna be very far to be able to call the Red Cross.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep going, we keep paddling, and after a few moments, I didn't realize how long was that. And we saw this. We saw an helicopter flying on top of us, and he was kind of like turning around. I'm like, man, this helicopter should just pass this way. Like, staying here will alert people from both sides that something is happening on the here. They are looking from something. So now this is the decision to take. Either we call the Red Cross and use the helicopter to tell them exactly where we are, or either the Moroccan who saw that and figure out there's something going on and come here, get here first. So I'm like telling my guy, call the Red Cross, because the first thing when you call, where are you? What are you seeing?
Underneath the helicopter.
Give us something that we were just like, we are underneath the helicopter. You see the helicopter, because we are sure that everywhere that you might be, you will see that helicopter.
Right.
I'm like, we are right underneath it. And there was like, do you have a girl, a woman in the boat? This. By the time my English was very like bad, I was speaking like pidgin, and I'm like, do you have a woman? I'm like, what the hell did it have to do if we have a woman? We are in danger.
Right.
But I didn't tell that to them. I'm like, yeah, we have a woman. Guess we have even a child. We have babies. Like,
right.
Why do you want to know if you're a
whatever
woman?
you want me to say?
Yeah. Just come and save
get
us.
me. Yeah.
We are in danger. And just after we hung up, like the water really started to change. That rain, it wasn't raining, but
Starting.
Yeah, starting. And the water was like, vroom, vroom. We all regrouped in the middle of the craft, like it was very scary. But we have to paddle, because they said they are coming. And after like few minutes, I saw something like, the water we were floating, getting on top, and I saw there were a boat, a lot of sheep in the water, but I saw something red, because their boat is red. I'm like, that might be it. I think that's them, but I can't tell my group, because if I tell them and they get excited, I throw away their paddle, and it's not them, we are down.
Right.
So as captain, I have to keep them down. I'm like, okay, maybe keep paddling. I'm like, let's go, guys, let's go. And at some point, somebody said, hey, I think I saw them. I raised the paddle. Shut the fuck up. Like, it's not them. Where do you saw them? I'm like, I think. You don't think. Either you see them or you don't see them. Because if you do this and they throw, in excitement, they throw the paddle out.
We're fucked.
We're fucked.
Yeah.
You know. Then, after like few minutes, so everybody kind of like figured out something's going on. Looking, like they really say, yes, there is. Like, it was clear that was a Red Cross. Man, I didn't care. Like, some people throw the paddle as expected. I remained the only one, the captain. I was paddling by myself. Like, instead of like somebody there helping me for direction, I was paddling like this to keep the boat, the direction, paddling back. You know, like, I just had some power right there. It was crazy. And they came. I'm like, they was like, calm down, relax, calm down, everything's okay, calm down, because they don't want us to fall in the water.
Right.
Because sometimes with excitement, people get crazy and end up like maybe the boat flipped and get them in the water.
So what was it like when you got on the boat?
Mm?
When you got on that Red Cross boat and you knew?
People we were very excited. We make sure everything that we get as a paper, passport, we let in the water. Because if you have something on you who says you're from Senegal, even though you are not from Senegal,
right?
Oh, you're getting deported from Senegal right away.
Oh.
So you make sure you don't have any paper on you.
Okay.
Yeah. I was there, man, thinking. Then suddenly I realized he was April 3rd, and I left Cameroon April 3rd, 1 year ago.
Wow.
1 year anniversary.
One long journey.
Man, I felt like he was maybe a decade. But when I was in the Red Cross boat, that's when I realized it was just 1 year.
So what happens from the Red Cross picking you up? Do they bring you to Paris? Like where do they bring you?
No, they bring you like right to the coast. They call the police. They're like, okay, we have a people there.
Right.
It's not their duty. They don't judge you. They just want to save you.
They're saving you.
They bring you there. They tell the police.
But they're bringing you to the Europe side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since that is their base, their headquarters. They bring you in that side.
And what happens once you get over there?
Well, they give you to the police, and the police started to question you. They bring you to police station.
And what do you have to tell the police?
Oh, your story, your country, where you're from. But before you get there, you know those countries that has they can deport you
to. A good relationship with France. So
not like good relationship. It doesn't have to be a good relationship.
But they don't have an extradition.
But yes, some country doesn't have an extradition. They don't sign that convention.
So what country did you say you're from?
Cameroon. From all my trip, that was the first time I was like proudly Cameroonian. Like, oh, I'm Cameroonian. You know.
Oh, so it's okay because Cameroon and France, they have a relationship.
No, Cameroon and France. We were in Spain.
Right.
It wasn't yes, but they don't have that like extradition.
I see.
Convention. They don't sign we don't sign that. So that was a good thing for Cameroonian. Those people, like, because in Algeria, we are all Malian, and in Morocco, we are all from Senegal, even Guinea, Bissau, like West Africa, because a lot of West Africa country has a good relationship with Morocco, which is visa-free. They don't need visa. To go there. They just get in the border and maybe sometime.
So once you're in Spain, do they let you go?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
This journey is not over yet.
It's not over. Oh, the mental part of the journey is coming.
Oh, boy.
Because after that, they're kind of like, oh, we are bringing you to the court. I mean, it's just a procedure. Like, you don't even see the judge. I'm like, oh, this is your lawyer. How they call that?
Lawyer.
Yeah, no, yeah. You know, commis d'office, the one when you don't have money, the one that
defense attorney. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So since you can't afford lawyer, there are lawyer that they give you. Yes, this is your lawyer. Lawyer, they come and like blah 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 blah, and go away. You don't even go to the courtroom. You don't see the judge. They bring you to this center. I mean, they call it like detention center or something, but man, this is like a harsh prison. It's crazy. They just want to break you down mentally. Like at some point, you go crazy in there. You're just like, okay, I think I was good being in the forest in Morocco. At least I was free, man. You are in this place. They tell you when to go, like take a shower, when to eat, when to sleep, when to patio, this, that, and everything is like this, that, 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 and you don't know what is your future. You don't know if they're sending you back in your country. You don't know if the kind of like checking on your backgrounds guy and stuff. Hey, guess what? You don't even give them most information. You lied on many things. Like, why do they want to know? Just free me. That's it.
Right. How long do they keep you there?
Oh, almost 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
And what are they trying to get you to say?
Nothing. Just keep you there. Want to make you go crazy on your own. You're like pissed off. You want to get out of there. You don't do anything. I'm like, okay, are you guys gonna teach us even some language every day? Come like amigo, blah 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 blah. Like, you can even have a English like a Spanish teacher there. At least we get occupied. Like something, man. Nothing. But
so why do they eventually let you go?
Well, they can deport you. For some people, like if they suspect that you're from some country who has a extradition,
then they'll deport you.
Yeah, they might bring somebody from your embassy to come and investigate to see if you're really from that country that you're saying. If he recognize you, and if he say yes, he's from my country, they'll deport.
So what is it like when they finally let you go?
Some association will come and takes you, and they offer you to stay there for a few days or for longer, for 2 weeks or for longer if you want, but you have to decide either it's 2 weeks or if it's 3 months. You have to choose right away. But I wasn't going to do anything in Spain. I just wanted to go, so we stayed there. After like 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, so I called in Cameroon again one more time, like, guess what, I made it. I need some money, but this is the last time. Figure out something, I need a clothes to wear. I need a cell phone, and they send me some money, like $300. Yeah, 300 to 400. I buy myself some clothes, some cell phone, and beginning of the trip. And I wasn't going to France yet because, like, I wanted to go to the UK, to England, because by the time the boxing, during my journey, my goal was always to get somewhere with opportunity of boxing, and England was like a big nation of boxing out of any country in Europe. But to make it in England, he was you have to go through all this process because England is they're kind of like taking themselves out of Europe. So there is not a free circulation as in Europe. From Spain to go to France, Italy, Germany, Brussels is easy. There is no police control or anything. But from there, anywhere else to go to England,
difficult.
It's difficult. Even as a French resident with your resident card, you still need to have a visa, unless you're a French citizen. Otherwise, you still need to have a visa to go to England. So it was very complicated. And now I'm like, man, I'm kind of like tired of this back door, this service door entrance, you know. And even if I go to England, at the end of the day, it's not done yet. Like, I don't know how long it's going to take me to get there. And if I get in England, I still have to end up in the US because that was the main goal.
The main goal was get to the US?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, growing up, my dream was always being in the US. Basically, like, I was so big and all around, they was calling me American. And I'm like, yeah, I am. You know, like, my signature, sometime, like, when I sign, is people don't understand why. It's SF. And I was like 10 years old, figured out my signature. And since there was a city in America who I know is San Francisco, and people sometimes, as my name is Francis, will call me San Francisco. I want to like change my name to put my name San Francisco. Like, that's even why I signed SF, and it ended up to be my official signature.
Oh,
so
wow.
My signature is SF.
So when you write Francis Ngannou, you write SF.
No writing. To sign
things.
A document. Yeah.
So when someone wants you to sign a document, you don't sign Francis Ngannou.
No.
You sign SF.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of like special.
For you, it's important. So tell me, what is it like the first time you walk into a gym in Paris?
Okay, so then since I couldn't go to England, I'm like, okay, I might go to Germany, even though it will be a language barrier, but you know, boxing doesn't take that much. You know, it's kind of like showing part and a few words. You're gonna get that really quick.
For coaching,
jab across. Yes, coaching is not gonna be very complicated. So I was going to Germany, but we were a group of people. The people in the group was just like friends. I'm like, okay, let's go to France first. Then I went in France just by curiosity to see, but I never really want to go to France. And I end up in France, and you know, things started to put themselves together. And now I'm like, by the end of the day, it's not that bad. I just wanted a place with opportunity, a place with opportunity. France seems to have that opportunity, and he will help me to get in the US in the main door instead of the service door as usually. And because I went in France, I get in France like June 9th, 2013. I was with some guy. He has a friend who was in some community there, some Malian community, and you're like, okay, I'm going there. I don't know where I'm going, so I just follow them. They jump on the, this thing at the train station, how they call it?
Turnstile.
Yes, at the turnstile. We couldn't pay. I jump on it too. We just keep going. I follow them. Then they went to this Malian community. I saw the first time. That was the first place that I saw in France. Man, I was so desperate, disappointed. Like, it was like two buildings, and they were like putting their clothes, drying their clothes on the window, and somebody was standing from this window talking to somebody there in Bambara, like, abrigidi. I'm like, my mind was blown out, like, man, so I almost died for you. This is France that they are talking about. That was my first image of France. Man, I'm like, I'm getting out of here. I don't want to stay here, because this kind of thing kind of like drown your energy. I don't want to stay around this place. So I found a parking lot. And the next day, a guy showed us a parking lot. We found a Cameroonian guy who came there to eat, and he said, I'm sleeping in some parking lot. If you guys want, I will show you where it is. I'm like, hey, I really want that. Like, I'm not staying here, because people was recommending. They recommend us to like call the French. That number is 115. So there has a place you can call for to book for a night sleeping, but it's like just a place to sleep. There's like hundreds of beds in the big house, and you guys just go there. Or homeless people, and I was homeless, but I had a very proud, like, no, like, I won't give up. Like, most of homeless people, they just give up and don't treat themselves, like, just treat themselves very bad. I'm like, no, seeing this all the time that I get around that, it kind of like, I feel like it's gonna drive my energy, like take out my energy. I was so pumped out, like expecting a world to come to me, like exciting about everything. That kind of environment wasn't meant for my dream. So I'm like, no, I'd rather sleep on my place, even if it's not true. I'd rather live with my dream than just let him.
And just live in a homeless shelter, right?
Yeah.
Right. So how do you get to an MMA gym?
I first went to, the next day I found a boxing gym. All day long I was walking, asking, until I found a boxing gym. And I found it was about 4, and it was exactly a boxing time. And I asked to talk. They give me this sheet with prices on it, everything. I saw the prices. I'm like, damn, they don't really know that I can't afford this. But I asked the lady in the front desk if I can see the coach. And she told me the coach is not there, but there is a guy taking a class, so I can meet the guy if I want. I'm like, of course. I met this. Then after like 30 minutes, she brought me down. She showed me to the guy, and like, the guy was DJ Cameroon, the first guy that I met. And I was telling him, like, yeah. I was just straight up like, listen, I just came here. I don't have where to sleep. I don't have nothing. But, I'm not asking for something besides somewhere to train, besides an opportunity, because I'm going to become a world champion. Like when you walk to the gym, you don't have nothing, and you're saying that for people who has been there for years and years. It looks like you're kind of looking at them like, oh, what are you guys be doing there? You've been wasting your time.
Yeah.
But it was just like me believing in myself. But he was very receptive and very show a lot of compassion of my situation. And I was even surprised. Before we left, I was with some guy that I met down the way, and he gave us like 50 euro. I'm like, man, why did it give us money? Like, it was just so understandable of our situation. And he said, I'm not the coach, but I'm gonna talk to the main coach. That was on Monday. He said, I'm going to talk to them. The next class is on Wednesday. I'm going to talk to the main coach and see what he says. And if he says yes, I'll give you a call. Do you have a cell phone number? I'm like, of course. Just give him my phone number. And on Thursday, he called me. And I'm like, yeah. I spoke with the coach and everything's okay. He said, you can come to the next training, which is Saturday. I went to that. He said, yes, remember, by the way, I have a gloves for you, and let me know if you need anything. the €50 that he gave me, I still had it, and with some money that I still had it, I stopped in the box in some sport shop and bought like short, bag, one t-shirt, yeah, and towel, and that was it. Couldn't even buy a mouthpiece, neither a hand wrap, nothing. The money was it was over. Hey man, I went to the gym. The Saturday was a sparring day. He gave me a gloves. I didn't have a hand wrap, no mouthpiece, nothing. Then I'm like, yeah, it's a sparring day. I'm like, yeah. Like, you don't have. I'm like, no, yeah, I don't have. But let's go. Hey, I didn't care. You know, he's crazy how by the time I was so excited, like I didn't care. Now when I forget my mouthpiece, I rather drive back because I care. I'm like, okay, if I broke my teeth, I kind of like think about those things. I'm very cautious now. Like, okay,
But then
I'm a
you
professional.
I'd be so excited just to be there.
I have something to lose now.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Maybe sometime I'm gonna be I might have a fight coming up, waiting for a fight. So I don't.
So you hadn't done any training at all in a long time, right?
Yeah.
What was it like to just get in there right away and spar?
Oh, I was so excited. I was so pumped up. Man, like finally get a gym like that. Man, that was crazy. And after 2 weeks, he started to tell me like, man, you have a good boxing. You have a good, because he was a big guy too. And we sparred. And I'm like, you have a good boxing. But, you know, with your situation, I think the thing we're gonna help you the most will be MMA. You know, boxing business is kind of very complicated. It's gonna take time, you know, but MMA, you can easily pretty soon start a fight and get $500 or something, and that will be very helpful seeing your situation. And I'm like, what is MMA? Started explaining to me how it's the martial arts. Yeah, good. MMA mean mixed martial arts. But what's that? You know, he started. Yes, you know, it's
So you had never seen the UFC. You had never seen.
No, I have seen it like a few times in the on TV, but didn't even stay there to watch. I'm like, why, whatever, you know, just keep doing my thing.
Right.
Then he started to say, yes, it's in the cage and this. I'm like, yeah, I have saw that a few times. Like, yes, if you do get some wrestling, just some good wrestling, little bit of jiu-jitsu base to get up. Like, what is jiu-jitsu? Started explain me everything. I'm like, hey man, please leave me alone with your MMA.
That's hilarious.
I want to do boxing. I'm like,
but they offer you a fight for money.
But he was very like subtle, so he wasn't rush, wasn't pushing me.
Right, very subtle.
But yes, all the time he knows when to put a word. Like, I'm telling you, you should just try. Give it a try. That's it. I'm like, man, I want to do this. It's straight boxing. You know, a boxing.
Yeah.
A noble art, like Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Mike Tyson, right?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. That's what I want to do. And we keep training. And he was very, like, nice, like, want to, like, help me to fit in. So after training, most of the time, like, hey guys, let's go to the bar, let's take a drink. And he knows that most of the time in Paris, when a guy call out for a drink, even though somebody call out, make sure you have your money because everybody gonna pay. And he will say, I get you all the time. Sometimes he'll call out for dinner. I'm like, I get you, just to help me to be around people because he knows everything. He knows that I'm sleeping in the parking lot. And he was a big guy. He gave me like clothes. Hey, he gave me my first perfume, Ralph Lauren. I was a homeless. I have my backpack, but I have my perfume every time
That's
after
hilarious.
training. Take my shower really good. Wear my clean clothes. Put some.
So
Good.
how long before you got your first fight?
No, like after that, like after 1 or almost 2 months, that gym supposed to close for 1 month during the holiday, during the vacation. And that's when, because I wasn't doing MMA there, like he offered me to try. I'm like, whatever. But since at the daytime I didn't have time, I made this association at the street that they was like helping us, giving us like food every Monday. They come by and trying to give us whatever, like these little things that you might need, like a mouthpiece or a mouth brush. I remember I had a sleeping bag, the military sleeping bag. Yes, they offered that. They gave me that because the first time they were like, "What can we do for you?" I'm like, it's pretty cold down there because it was by my parking lot. It was underground parking lot. I'm like, it's freezing. So if you guys have some blanket, that might be very helpful. They said, okay, next week we're gonna see what we can do. We're gonna be here by this time, by the same time. I'm like, okay. So I came there the same. So I kind of like have a routine of seeing them every week and telling them how I'm bored, I want to do something. I'm like, we can't give you, we don't have job for you, but if we want to come to our place to help cook, cut veggies, or do whatever you can do, because we make food about 700 meals every day to go provide give to the homeless in north of Paris. So if you can help for the daytime, if you have a time, every free hand is welcome, because as a association we don't have enough money to pay people, so we kind of like use most volunteer. So if you want to volunteer, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Then they set up a meeting with the manager. We met, we go through some stuff, and then I'm like, okay, you can come. There's no rules. Every time, every day that you have time and you want to stop by for 2 hours, 1 hour, help us to load stuff in the truck or to unload or to cut veggies, or to whatever that you can help for how long you have, you're welcome. So I started to go there. By the time. So since the gym, and the MMA factory was next to that association, and since but I never go to the MMA factory. I didn't even. They were doing CrossFit in the. They was doing CrossFit in the first floor. So what I see from that gym, he was kind of like CrossFit. I didn't even know if they were doing like stuff like boxing or MMA. And by the time it was an MMA factory, it was a CrossFit, the name. So which is close to CrossFit. So I just thought it was a CrossFit gym. But since my gym wanted to close, I'm like, once I was with the manager of this association, and I told him, like, I think I'm gonna see if this gym next door has a boxing, if they are doing boxing there. So I will keep training during this 1 month that my original gym gonna be closed. He says, we have a good relationship. As we are good neighbors, so I think he will be good if I play it for you. I'm like, good idea. That would be a very good thing. And he went there. He talked to this guy in the front desk. He was Frank, and the guy just came. He was a nice guy. He was a part owner of the gym at the time. He was very nice. He just came in. I'm like, look at me. I'm like, whoa. Good baby. we can do. We would like to have this. You know, like Fernand would be happy to see him. Yeah, you can. You're welcome, man. Anytime that you want. Yeah.
So you
And
start training there.
Yeah, and he said, but Fernand is the one like taking care of combat sports, so I think you should meet him. And yeah, he said he's gonna be here on Thursday. He's usually here on Tuesday and Thursday, which is the main class, and we were Tuesday. So the next day we were Tuesday evening. He was there already. He has left already. So the next day was Thursday. I kind of like stopped by on Thursday and met Fernand. We talked, and I kind of like tell him like how my friend Didier Cameroon is always trying to tell me about MMA, and he was like, "Yes, your friend, he's right." I'm like, "Yeah, but you do boxing too?" He said, "Yes, the boxing class is at what this time, that time, that time." Then I came there for the boxing time. I'm like, yes, you should try MMA. We do MMA here too. You can try it if you like it. I mean, once I just come, he was just about to try, you know. But I love all these fighting things. I'm like, oh, it's cool, it's fun. So I kept coming just because it's fun, but not because I want the MMA. Like when they keep talking about like, yeah, you should do this. Yes, MMA. I'm like,
You just
hey,
wanted a
man.
box. You just wanted a box.
I tried your MMA. Leave me alone. You know, I just wanna do it for
Just
fun,
for fun.
and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, but and so by the time I was already like having a good relation with Didier Cameroun, but as he saw that I started to do MMA, and that's exactly what he wanted, like he get at the point that he come to like pay for a membership at this gym just to keep me going. And he knows that I want to be where he is at. So sometime he's gonna call me like very excited. Hey, what's up, man? How are you doing? What are you doing today? You're gonna be at training today? You're doing the MMA class today at the MMA factory? I'm like, I don't know. And then I'm like, yes, I'm gonna be there. And I'm like, oh, cool. Yes, I'll be there. So like many times he will stood me up. He will show up.
That's funny. He just wanted to make sure
he
that
just
you went
wanted
there.
to keep me going.
Isn't it crazy when you think about that's how you got into MMA, and now in a month you're about to fight for the heavyweight title
Yeah,
for the second time?
yeah. And by the time, like, even Fernand was telling me, like, yeah, you should do. I think you should. He was very excited about it, and now I'm like, nah. I mean, if it wasn't about Didier Cameroun, I would have left even that gym after like 1 month because.
So how did they get you to sign up? How did they get you to fight the first MMA fight?
So after like 1 month, like Fernand just told me like, oh, there's a fight there's a fight here in town. This guy, they would like, you can fight him. I'm like, well, since I'm doing this by curiosity, let's get the full experience out of my curiosity so I can truly tell how he feels.
Right.
I went there. It was a tournament. And now I'm like, okay, let's get this.
1 day tournament? So multiple
No.
fights in a day? Or
Yeah, but no, it wasn't multiple fight. It was like 2 weeks tournament.
okay. So you fight and then you wait a while and then you fight again in a few weeks' time?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So I won my first fight. Submission.
You won by submission?
Yeah. It
What
was
did you
like,
use?
I don't know. There is not a name for that. Like, I don't
What
know.
did you
I just
do?
grabbed the guy's hand. I'm like, okay, I'm breaking this hand or you tap.
You just grabbed his hand?
Yeah. I was on top of him. I like turning. I don't know how. And
that's crazy.
I remember my.
Did you try to show someone how you did it? Like, could you recreate it?
No, I didn't create it because my jiu-jitsu coach named Christian Pumbu, which is a former light heavyweight Bellator champ. So he's the guy that hurt me a lot on my ground game, and he was right there. He was telling me to do something.
This is it. There you go.
That's my first submission. I don't know what is that.
Let me see that again. It's a shoulder lock. Yeah, look, you got him in a shoulder. That's a legit move.
So
that's very legit. So they taught you how to do this?
No, he was coaching me. Christian.
That's very legit.
Christian Pumbu, he was sitting there, and he was coaching me, and he was telling me like, put your foot like this. I think I first put my foot in the wrong way, but at the end, his shoulder get blocked, so he tapped. So it was a submission.
That's a legit move. That's very legit.
That was my first fight after 3 months and a half.
Is that your only submission?
No.
You have other submission wins?
I have 4 submissions.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. That's legit, man.
My first performance of the night in the UFC was a submission over Anthony Armstrong.
That's right.
In Albany.
What did you get him with?
Ambra. No, not Ambra. Kimura.
Kimura.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was taking my back, then I grab, I block his leg, take him down.
Is the Alistair Overeem KO, is that your most spectacular victory, you think?
Yeah.
That one was so crazy. I remember when you hit him, I don't even know how I responded because you hit him so hard and he went flying back and stiffened up. And I remember thinking, holy shit. Like that was about as hard as I've ever seen anybody get hit from a punch in my life. That was a perfect punch.
Yes, he landed pretty well.
But the crazy thing is not just that you did it to him, but that you did it to, not just you landed that punch, but you landed it on one of the most decorated strikers ever in the sport, right there. Boom. I mean, he's one of the most decorated strikers ever. I mean, K1
definitely.
Grand Prix champion, Dream champion, Strikeforce champion. I mean, Alistair, that guy has insane amounts of experience.
Yeah.
For you to land that kind of punch on him.
Leading to that fight, I was very relaxed, like confident but very relaxed, flow, just letting go. And he plays up really well.
When you went into the Stipe fight, the first Stipe fight, how did you expect the fight to end? What did you think was going to happen?
I don't know.
You didn't know?
Yeah. So that fight was so all the way through that fight, nothing was right.
All the way in training?
Yeah. Even how I approached the fight, because I remember I was in my hotel room, like, okay, if I win this fight, where am I going from? Like Boston right now, where am I flying to? In Vegas? How, like, there was a lot of empty spot in this, and I had to go back in France like 3 weeks before the fight, because I came here a few months ago and didn't really give a chance to like work with somebody. I was working with Dewey Cooper, which is my striking coach, but not a MMA coach. And so I was holding back to trust people. I don't know if it was due of my experience or what, but it was really hard. So when comes the moment when Mick Manor called me after the Alistair fight and like offered me fight, like, okay, what are you doing? January 20. That's the title fight. I want a title fight. But this is like what, six weeks ahead, and I don't even have a camp. My camp is fresh. I was still staying in my camp, like in my mind, still holding on in my camp in France. But there is the moment. How can I do it? I have to go back to France.
Did you train in France for the Alistair fight?
No.
You trained in Vegas?
Yes, I trained in Vegas. And, but he was easy because I had this fight like 3 months ahead.
Right.
So I kind of like, I was able to like find a sparring partner and get them at the PI and train there.
Right.
but this one was like I get to fight 6 weeks.
So you decided to go back to
I didn't
Paris
even
to
have a
train?
manager by the time, so I have to like get things done by myself.
Why did you so you went back to Paris to
Yeah.
train for Stipe?
Yeah.
Did you have good wrestlers to work with?
Yeah, I have good wrestler, but he was just such a short period of time
Right.
because I staying here. By the time my resident card was temporary, and he was just 1 year, and he was due 6 months. So I have to go back to LA, apply for visa to go back to France, all this thing. Then Fernand, by the time he couldn't come here because he has a business going on, so he couldn't come here for month or stuff. So I have to go back in Paris, and that's why I'm like, well, I should have something like right here, like, you know,
In America.
yeah. In case an opportunity show up, this kind of thing, I have to like right away get it into.
Right.
You know, I don't have to need to travel in 3 weeks.
Right.
And but there was a lot of things that I didn't know that I kind of like figured out during the process, during the fight, how it plays out, how it works, you know.
Have you watched the fight since then?
Not really.
No?
Some highlights. I don't like to watch that fight. I have this fight in my mind. Like every step of the fight, I still have it in my mind. I don't even need to watch it to see it. I know exactly what was happening, what was going on in my mind, what my corner was telling me. I remember everything.
So leading into the rematch,
Yeah.
now you're training at Extreme Couture. Are you doing all your training there?
Yeah.
Do you
So I train at the PI too, but
PI
just
as well.
like strength and conditioning.
and who does your strength and conditioning there?
Kyle at the PI.
Okay. And so did they have they been working with you for a while to prepare for this?
Yeah.
Because you're
mean-
leaner now than you were before, right? You were heavier at one point in time.
I'm getting. I was heavier leading to that fight than I was maybe in Alistair fight, but I'm still heavier now than I was back then.
Just from all the strength and conditioning work.
I don't know.
What do you weigh now?
Right now,
Yeah.
275.
275. Well, that's not too bad. So isn't it weird that the heavyweight division has a weight limit? That's kind of strange. It's heavyweight. Like, why do you have to cut weight for heavyweight?
Well,
It's weird, right? I mean, heavyweight
kind
should
of.
be as big as you are. That's what heavyweight's supposed to be.
Oh, guess what? It keeps you professional.
Yeah, I guess it
in
keeps
boxing,
you
they don't
professional.
have weight limit.
No, but that's what doesn't make any sense to me. I never understood the 265-pound weight limit.
Well,
Because I remember when Tim Sylvia was a heavyweight champ, there was a couple times where he didn't make weight, or at least one time that he didn't make weight the first time, and he had to go back and cut weight. I'm like, this is strange.
Yes, for
Cutting
heavyweight.
weight- For heavyweight, doesn't make any sense.
that means there's a supposed weight class after that.
Yeah, but no one's ever fought in the UFC. Yeah, I don't even remember what it's called.
Super heavyweight.
Super heavyweight? Is that what
Yeah.
they call it? Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's but the point is, so you're basically around the same size, but you got a little leaner after that fight, though, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
leading to the next fight, I get very leaner. I remember I weigh into my fight against Lewis. I was like 250, 253. 253.
Now, was that
Because-
in response to the first fight with Stipe?
Yeah.
You realize you
Like
had
my fight against Lewis never really happened. He was just
Derek Lewis.
yes. Again, Derek Lewis didn't even happen because everything there was just I was there for Stipe.
Right.
I was there to like just correct everything that I should have done.
When you say the fight never happened, it feel like you just weren't there for that fight?
No, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't there.
You made a correction after that, though. Like, for that fight, you were very tentative. You didn't do much. Both of you didn't do much.
Because, like, for the Stipe fight, I think I rushed basically for the first round. And now I'm like, I was there like, damn, I had 5 rounds. Why should I, like, rush?
And then run out of gas.
Run out of gas. Like,
Right.
I should have, like, and looking that fight, I mean, I watched that fight I see the guy look like me, but I don't recognize myself because it's not the way that I fight.
Right.
I look back to other fight. It's not the way he looks like he's two different person. It's not the way that I used to fight. You know, I kind of like calm, approach the fight, let myself get into fight, and if there's a opportunity, like most of the time my opponent will be even the first to attack, you know, because I'm there. But this one I just like rush in there. So I'm like, I should have calmed down. I should. And I keep repeating in my mind, like, calm. So I was in the fight with Lewis, and I was just like, take your time, calm down, don't rush, calm down. Hey, guess what? I was even surprised when the referee said, after the end of the fight. I thought it was maybe the second round or something.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I was surprised that was the third round. I was like, calm down, Francis, calm down.
So you were still dealing with
I was still dealing with the Stipe fight, like telling myself, don't rush, calm down. It doesn't take much. You're going to get this.
The fight after that was Stipe? The fight after that was Junior Dos Santos? Was
No,
that the
Curtis
fight?
Blades.
Curtis Blades.
Yeah.
Curtis Blades, and then Junior Dos Santos.
Curtis Blades, Ken Velasquez.
Kane, that's right. Kane was in between.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got back on track with Curtis Blades. You stopped Curtis Blades.
Yeah.
You stopped Cain Velasquez. You stopped Junior Dos Santos. Now you're back on track.
Yeah.
And then Jairzinho Rosenstrike, that's the next fight afterwards. So you just you're knocking everybody out again, and you look exactly like the same, but an improved version of Francis Ngannou. The improved version of you as you were making your run up to the title.
Oh yeah, a different Francis from that. The same physique, but a different fighter from that. And like now when I don't have a fight, I mean, I kind of like just work on my wrestling. I'm not expecting like for work being. I used to work on my wrestling, but now I kind of like put a point on my wrestling and stuff when I don't have a fight. I don't strike no many much when I'm not fighting, you know.
Just try to work on the things you need
trying
more
to
work
work on different things.
Yeah.
Or work grappling. I've been like the past few months, just before his fight, I've been working with Ronnie before he fought at the Bellator, and because he has a very good ground game. We do jiu-jitsu, wrestling with many guys at Extreme. We have some big body guys there, such as Kyle.
What's a great gym? You know what I mean? That's a great gym.
Yeah.
Extreme Couture is one of the best gyms in the world for sure.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, like for my standing point, I never really like go for the best gym. Like what matter for me is people that I'm dealing with, you know, the kind of people. If I feel like, okay, I can deal with these people, they are good people, that's matter for me most than the actual gym. And at Extreme Couture, I kind of like found that, you know, people who were just there. I mean, I remember like Eric Nixick, which is now my coach. He was like all the time like, yes, man, anytime you need me, call me. And then I'm like, yeah, this might just be some coach want a fighter, you know. Then I can't with time I kind of like know the guy, know the person. I'm like, this is a great guy. I would like to.
So you develop a good relationship.
Yes, we develop a good relationship. I say I would like to.
When did you start?
I can deal with this guy.
That's great. When did you start letting people hit you? When did you start letting people hit you in the stomach? When did all that start?
Oh, always.
There's so many videos of fighters like hauling off and punching you in the stomach, like you stand there flexing.
Hey, he used to be on my chest. Like growing up, I used to have my little brother come and hit me on the chest and everything. I always like toughness. Like I'm the man. That's why I always think that if I would have like grew up in the US.
Look at this.
Yeah.
There's so many videos of guys hitting you in the stomach. That's got to be very disappointing for him. Just have a dude stand there and take your best shot right in the stomach. Now, you have this amazing opportunity right now to fight for the title again, but for the longest time, it seemed like that wasn't going to happen. I mean, you had to wait so long to get another shot at the title.
I knew it's gonna happen. It was frustrating. The waiting time, all those things, uncertain. But I know it's gonna happen. Guess what? There's only thing who will make it happen. Get your ass, work your ass in the gym, work, get out there, win the fight. You're gonna get the title shot. You know, at some point, it's not like obvious. It's not like, okay, it's gonna happen after a certain fight, but at some point, it's gonna happen, you know, which is the good thing. So technically, he comes with your result. He's based on what you do. You are the one calling. Technically, you are the one calling the shot.
What do you think is different with you between the Francis from the first fight and you now?
Oh, everything is different. Everything is different. I surround myself. I have a great team. I have a good team before. Now I have a team that we have built a relationship and they are always around. Like, I have to fight in 6 weeks. We have been working on this for so long. Even before my previous fight, we have been working on this fight. And I have people around just ready for, like, do everything that has to be done for the fight. Like Eric, he just let his family, not to mention that he came back home not long ago after like 2 or 3 weeks in Abu Dhabi, leaving his wife and his 3 kids. But as soon as I'm like, okay, we are going to Austin, where I'm like, okay, we don't have to take a day off. We have to be together to keep training, you know. And this is thing that for the first fight, I was doing the media tour like for 2 days, not training and those stuff, you know, because I was just by myself. The team wasn't built, you know. So we just came, Eric just came and make all this travel just in order of helping me staying trained while I'm here.
Well, Francis, I'm very excited for the fight. I can't wait. And I really appreciate you coming here. It was really great to talk to you, and your story is incredible. It's
Thank
incredible.
you, Joe. Thank
It's
you
amazing.
for having me.
My pleasure.
For the most famous podcast in the world.
Well, it's my pleasure. And I mean, I think you're an incredible person. What you've done is amazing. Your journey, leaving Cameroon and making it to where you are right now, about to fight for the heavyweight title for the second time, it's an amazing, inspirational story. It really is.
Thank you. And but there's some part of that journey that I cannot recommend, though. I think I was too crazy to do some dumb shit. But you know, like when I go back in Cameroon, some people will still ask me like, "How do you make it in France?" I'm like, "Hey man, figure it on your own. I'm not going to tell you."
Yeah.
Not because I don't want you to make it, but because I don't want you to go through what I've been through, and I know exactly what it is like. And I was very lucky to get out there alive. Like in the past 6 months, I know 3 people from my village who have died in Morocco in the past 3 months.
Trying to escape.
Yeah, 2 of them die in the water, and 1 just gets sick and died recently. It's like my friend, little brother, and that's so sad. And I can't like keep, I can't like not thinking that I have something to do with it. Like, most of them just want to do it, follow my path. I'm like, that's not a good way to follow, you know. I don't recommend that to nobody, to go through that road. It's a hell. It's a matter of luck, and you know, we all have luck, but sometimes he plays differently in a different ground. So, like as soon as I get back out there, I tell my family, "Hey, please, just stay back there. I don't want somebody to give me heart attack. So if I go out there and I will hustle for us, if things work pretty well, I'm gonna go back there, build maybe a company, get you guys a job, You're gonna build something good for the family, so you're gonna be able to even apply for a visa. Just go visit those countries, Europe or US.
Just don't take the path
But
you took.
you don't even need to go there and stay there.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. You're gonna have a cultural barrier. You're gonna have all these things. You have to struggle. You don't need that anymore. Just please stay home. Like I always remind them, please hold on. If things change for me, it's gonna change for us, for all of us. I
That's
have
beautiful.
took the risk for all of us. So
That's beautiful.
never been there.
That's beautiful that you have that
And,
intention.
that's why I committed to a foundation in Cameroon, which is like
There it is.
no, not this one, another.
This is a different one? You have more than one
no,
foundation?
this is my foundation.
Yes. Oh, you committed to a different foundation.
Yes, I commit to a foundation that been helping people from Morocco who want to go back, who are tired and want to go back to their country. To help get the youth, put them aware of the risk and tell them, please don't do it.
Right.
I know I'm not the best example because I
'Cause you
did it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's good. That doesn't take away a risk. And it's getting harder and harder. And it's your life that you're putting on the line. Yeah, that's the part that I can recommend to somebody. But the rest, dreaming, trying, yeah.
Well, your story is incredible, Francis. And the title fight is March, what's the date?
27.
March 27th. I can't wait. I can't
Yeah.
wait. Good luck to you, sir. Thank you very
I
much.
hope you're going to call that fight.
Oh, I hope so too, man. I think I will be. Thank you. Thank
Always
you
a
very much,
pleasure,
Francis.
Joe.
My
Thank
pleasure,
you very
brother.
much.
Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.